A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, Jane Ace is most anxious to see Marge marry Neil Williams. Marge told her it couldn't be, because Neil has to look after his widowed mother. Now Jane is busy arranging to marry off Neil's mother, the most likely candidate being a Mr. Neff, a well-to-do old man with whom Mr. Ace is in the middle of a business deal, and with whom the Aces once had a $10,000 lawsuit. This episode takes place the following day around noon, in alternate scenes between Mr. Ace's office and the home of Neil's mother. But first to Mr. Ace's office. Listen.
Now, Mr. Neff, if you'll only take it easy, we can talk this deal over sensibly.
Young man, I didn't come here to talk anything over. I made what I think is a very fine proposition for you.
Well, of course, that's a matter of opinion, Mr. Neff.
My opinion's as good as yours.
Well, we both have rights to our own opinions, and I told you that I don't handle real estate for any measly commissions such as you offer me.
Measly? You must think money grows on trees.
Well, it won't grow in your pocket, Mr. Neff, and after all, you're forgetting you came over to me to ask me to handle your real estate for you. I'm conceited enough to think that you realize that I can make you some pretty profitable deals.
I hope you can. That remains to be seen.
And if I do, I want a reasonable profit myself.
I never pay more than that figure. The man I did business with for 10 years never expected more, never got more.
Well, why did you leave him? Why come to me?
Because he didn't produce to suit me. I want action.
Exactly. And if I produce, if I give you the action you want, don't you think I'm entitled to more than 2.5% commission?
Not a cent more. That's what I always pay.
Yes, and you always don't get any results, it seems to me. Now, you know, Mr. Neff, that the legal commission in this town is 5%. We all get 5%.
Not from me. I make my own deals.
But why should you be any different?
Because I do a lot of trading. I put over a lot of deals. You can make more at 2.5% from me than you can with any of these other birds at 5%.
Well, that may be so, but just the same,
Young man, I didn't come here to bargain with you.
You drive a pretty hard bargain, Mr. Neff.
That's the way I do business. Take it or leave it.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Wait for what? I can go someplace else. The only reason I came here in the first place was because I remembered you from that deal you put over on me when I was trying to sell B.J. Everett a lot. It isn't often anybody does it to me.
So you figured if I'm good enough to put one over on you, you could depend on me to make you some good deals, didn't you?
Yes, if you want to put it that way.
Well, thanks for the compliment, Mr. Neff.
I'm not here to compliment you. I told you yesterday what my proposition was, and you told me you'd give me your answer today. Is it yes or no? That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm afraid it's no.
No? You're turning down all this business I'm handing you?
No, I'm not turning it down. I don't mind telling you. I'd like to handle it, but not at 2.5%.
Well, that settles it. Good day, young man.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way about it.
Well, that's the way I feel. I can find somebody who wants to do business my way.
But 5% is a customary fee, Mr. Neff.
No, customary fiddlesticks. I make my own deals. Never paid more than 3% in my life.
3% now.
That was only once. Well, that's your last chance. 3%. Take it or leave it. I'm a busy man.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Neff. Sit down, won't you?
I've got things to do. Can't be sitting here in these sporty offices arguing with you youngsters. That's the trouble with this new generation of businessmen. Fix their offices up like a circus, take on big expenses, and then say you can't afford to operate for less than 5%. Why, when I started out at your age, I had my office in my hat.
In your hat.
And look at that electric light going to waste in broad daylight.
Well, I always keep the desk light on.
No wonder you can't afford to take less than 5%. Why, when I was your age, I never...
By the way, how old are you, Mr. Neff?
What's that?
I just wondered how old you are.
54. And look at me. Hard as a rock. You know why?
Because you never pay more than 3%.
What's that?
I said I guess it's because you took good care of yourself. I don't.
I'll say I take care of myself. I built myself a solid reputation in this town.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Guess you heard I was an old miser or something like that.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
I don't care if you did. What people say doesn't interest me in the least. I mind my own business. Now, I've made a proposition to you, and I'd like an answer right away.
Well, maybe we can both see it better if we take a day or so out to argue the thing out.
There ain't any argument. I make my own deals.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Neff, I'm not trying to hide the fact that I'd like to get your business. I know the amount of deals that you put over in a year.
Well, now you're talking sense.
Yes, and I'm trying to talk dollars, too. Why don't you give me a chance to show you what I can do for you? Maybe you'd be so impressed you'd willingly pay the 5%.
I told you I make my own deal.
Now, look, Mr. Neff, how about talking it over calmly?
I'm calm.
Yes, I know, but sit down, please. Take a chair. Make yourself comfortable. Here, have a cigar.
So glad you came over, Mrs. Ace. Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you.
Sit here. I think this is the most comfortable chair.
Thanks.
Well, I haven't seen you in ever so long.
Well, I just happened to be in this neighborhood, and I thought I'd come in and say hello.
I'm so glad you did. Neil's still asleep.
Asleep?
Yes. He works nights this week, you know. He didn't get home until after 5 o'clock this morning. He works so hard. Won't you take your coat off?
No, I can only stay a few minutes. Well, how have you been, Mrs. Williams?
Just fine. And you?
Just fine.
Your husband, Neil, always talks about you folks.
Oh, he is?
Yes. You and your husband and Marge, of course. She's such a dear.
Oh, yes. Everybody likes Marge.
Neil enjoys her company so much. Of course, he's been working so hard these past few weeks, he seldom gets to see her.
Marge has been working hard, too.
Yes. I guess all the youngsters nowadays work much harder than they did when I was a girl.
When were you a girl?
When?
I mean, how old are you now?
Oh, heavens, I hate to think of it. I'm 50.
50 years old. I thought you were somewhere around 50. We just happened to be talking about you last night, Mr. Ace and I.
And I see.
And I said I thought that... Well, you won't get mad, will you?
Of course not.
Well, I said I thought you were about 51.
Well, between you and me, I will be 51 next month.
You will?
Yes, but I like to hang on to the 50 as long as I can. So I just go on saying I'm 50.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, we get along in years, I guess. There's no stopping age. It was 14 years ago that Neil's father passed on. But it doesn't seem at all like 14 years. Oh, I don't know where time goes.
It just goes on, I guess.
Yes, I guess so. Well, you're certainly looking nice and springy this fine morning. I love that little frock you're wearing.
Oh, do you? I bought it about 3 weeks ago, but the weather has been warm enough to wear it here.
Darling.
Oh, thank you.
Neil's been asking me to buy myself a new spring outfit. When I see how hard the boy works, I just haven't got the heart to spend the money. Only yesterday he was saying he was going to take me downtown and blow me to a new dress. He's such a dear.
Yes, isn't he? We like Neil a lot, especially Marge.
Yes, they do seem to enjoy each other's company. I'm only sorry they can't see more of each other. But Neil works so much.
Well, I guess they will someday.
I hope so.
Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes?
Why don't you come to visit us sometime?
Thanks. I will someday.
But I mean, as long as Neil has to work so late nights and you have to stay home alone.
I manage to make the time pass. There's the radio, and I read a little.
But I thought it would be nice if you'd come over for dinner sometime.
I wouldn't want you to go to any bother for me.
Oh, it's no bother. We'd love to have you come over. Why, Mr. Ace has never even met you.
But I feel I almost know him, hearing Neil speak of you folks so often.
Yes, so I thought that maybe you could come over for dinner tomorrow night.
But I wouldn't want you to go to that bother.
Oh, it's no bother. We just love to have
you. Mr. Neff, I'd like to get better acquainted. We both should get acquainted, get to know each other better, and we see each other's point. How about coming over to the house for dinner?
Never mix business with pleasure.
Well, this won't be this is just a dinner. My wife gets up a nice set of victuals.
Oh, she does.
Yes, and we'd love to have you. How about it?
Well, now this ain't going to make no difference in my deal.
Well, why don't we just let that take its natural course?
Of course, I outlined the only natural course.
Sure, now take it easy now. When will we make this dinner date? How's for tonight?
Well, what do you got for dinner tonight?
Well, it's still early. I guess we can have almost anything you'd like.
None of them newfangled eats?
Oh, no. Mrs. Ace fixes a nice, homey dinner. Do you like chicken?
Oh, chicken sounds all right. If it's broiled right.
Oh, I think you're going... Wait a minute. I'll call her up.
Now, this isn't one of them formal dinners,
Oh,
is it?
no, nothing like that. We're just ordinary home folks. I think it might be a nice idea to have a quiet dinner together and get to understand each other a little better.
Well, I hope you'll get to understand me a little better. Because when I say 3%, I mean 3 and no more.
Yes.
Well, how about it? I can't be hanging around here.
Well, she doesn't seem to answer. She ought to be home. I usually call her about this time.
Well, I guess we better call it off.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. Neff. You're not going to call off the deal.
Unless you can agree to 3%.
Well, that's what I want to talk over. Look, I'll call her again in a few minutes. Maybe I dialed the wrong number. Just take it easy, Mr. Neff.
Time's money, young man.
Yes, and I understand you've got plenty of time.
Now, look here. I don't stand for kidding about business.
Oh.
If you want to do business with me, you've got to be all business.
Of course, I was... look, maybe we better make that dinner date for tomorrow night to make sure.
But I got to know your answer about this business. You're either going to handle it for me or I'm going to find somebody else.
Well, suppose I give you my answer tomorrow night at dinner.
I'll give you till tomorrow night.
Good. Maybe we can both make a couple of concessions.
What time's dinner?
About 6:30, if that's all right with you.
Well, 6:30 is all right if it's right on the nose. Don't like to be waiting around.
Well, 6:30 sharp, Mr. Neff. It's a date.
Well, better give me your address.
Oh, yes, here's my address. I'll write it out.
Well, that'll be fine. Then it's a date, Mrs. Williams?
Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Ace. If you're sure it's no bother.
Oh, no, we'd love to have you. Neil has to work, doesn't he?
Yes, poor boy. He's been working very late this week.
Well, then you come over, and Mr. Ace will drive you home whenever you want to.
I have a dinner dress I think I'll wear.
Oh, that's nice. I'll wear one, too, then. I like to dress for dinner, don't you?
Oh, I love it, but I get to do it so seldom.
Well, that's fine, then. We'll wear dinner dresses.
About what time do you folks have dinner?
Well, we can have it whenever you want to. What time do you usually have dinner?
I usually eat late dinner, around 8 o'clock.
Well, that's fine. Then we'll have dinner about 8.
Nothing special now, Mrs. A.
Oh, don't worry. It's not a party or anything like that. Just the 5 of us, that's all.
5?
Mm-hmm.
You, Mr. Ace, Marge, and I. That's 4, isn't it?
Oh, yes, 4. I meant 4. I'm terrible at arithmetic. Did I say 5? How on earth did I say 5? Well, goodbye, Mrs. Williams. See you tomorrow night at 8.
Jane almost gave it away. But we're afraid there's going to be a very much provoked Mr. Neff at this dinner party tomorrow night, as we shall learn when next we meet the Easy Aces.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, an original story by Ernest Kenoy. The time, early in the 21st century. The story, Martian Sam.
The whole thing started the first day of spring training. I'd gotten into camp 2 or 3 days before and started to loosen up a little. Because at my age, even batting fungos to an outfielder can tie your muscles up into knots. Although, as a matter of fact, I'd bet that I was in better condition than half the Humpty Dumptys on the club. We hadn't won a pennant since, 1997, or was it 98? And it looked like we had a permanent lease on 12th place. The Los Angeles Dodgers were in pretty sad shape, and that's the honest truth. I was standing behind the batting cage watching a couple of kids from our Tokyo farm team when Tommy Watson from the New York Times Tribune News caught me by the elbow.
Hi, Joe. Well, how's it look this spring?
Well, Tommy, the club has been considerably improved. Mm-hmm. Several of the youngsters are ready to deliver this year, and, of course, we expect sterling performances from our veterans. Is that what you want?
Oh, come on now, Joe, come off it. Has old man Castle loosened up enough to buy a catcher?
Not that I know of.
Well, how about a left-handed pitcher?
Well, there are those 2 boys from Tokyo.
Oh, come on. They couldn't throw a cream puff across the dining room table. Well, how does it feel to be first base coach for a team that'll clinch last place by July 4th?
You're very kind, Tommy. Very kind.
I just hate to see that old tightwad Castle run this club into the ground. I remember my father used to tell me about the times way back, when it was still in Brooklyn. And I can remember going down to Robinson Stadium when I was a kid to watch doubleheaders with the Denver Giants. Now look at them. A bunch of overage bums and a few kids who could hardly make the high school team. And all Castle's money goes to buy sports rockets for that screwball son of his. Oh, Joe, baseball isn't what it used to be.
The sad truth of the matter was that Tommy was putting it mild. Old man Castle, the owner, begrudged every nickel that was spent on the ball club. I don't think anybody had gotten a raise in the last 5 years. The manager was old Rabbit Cinderella, and Castle used to issue statements every year about how he had great faith in him. Truth of the matter was that Rabbit would work for less than any other manager this side of the Sally League. You'll see what I mean when I tell you that the club traveled in an old four-jet Strato rocket like some barnstorming semi-pro team. I was in the locker room looking down at my feet to avoid looking around at what passed for ball players on this Los Angeles Dodgers when Rabbit came up to me.
Joe.
Yeah?
Get your pants on and come into the office.
Oh, what's the matter?
Never mind. Come on.
Okay. Listen, Rabbit. What are we going to do about a left-handed pitcher?
Later. Joe, I had an idea. I thought we could take one of the right-handers and sew the letter backwards across his shirt, and maybe that'd fool the other club.
Yeah.
Come on inside.
Or maybe we ought to disguise Iron Mike, the batting practice robot.
All right, that's enough. Joe, the old man's dead.
What?
I said he's dead, old man Castle. Heart attack. I figured we had him scared so he'd loosen up a little dough for players, and then he goes and does this to us. Can't trust nobody.
Well, who gets the club?
His son.
What, you mean Whistling Willie Castle, the Jetstream playboy?
That's who.
But he doesn't know anything about a ball
He
club.
doesn't have to. Old man Castle owns 72% of the stock. And it all goes to Willie.
Well, what's going to happen?
Beats me. Probably sell us all out and buy a new rocket.
Is he here?
It was in the Earth Moon small boat race when it happened. They got a message to him when he hit the direct beam off Lunaport. He could have landed and taken the shuttle back and made it in one day. But he was leading in the race, so he just kept going. He's due in a couple hours.
You think you can get him to go for a left-handed pitcher?
I don't know. But we'll have to try.
Of course, you've heard of Willie Castle. About once a year, he cracks up some expensive sports rocket or gets himself picked up in a survival suit by the IP, floating somewhere in an orbit around the moon. He almost got put away a couple of years ago when he took a debutante up in a Harrison Kilgore cruiser and kept her in orbit for 2 months. The old man was able to kill the abduction charges by claiming that they'd been married at the time. And one time when the old man had a couple of us up at the lodge he lives in during spring training, I saw the kid's room. It was filled with marak heads that he'd shot on safaris on Mars. He came down to the training camp a week later. He buzzed over in a Harley Donaldson atmospheric and set the ship down in the hole between second and third, burning out half the infield. I saw a Rabbit get him to one side and start talking fast, so I sneaked over and listened.
Well, Mr. Castle, of course, you know we're all very sorry about your father's death. And
He had it coming, the old tightwad.
Oh, well, I see.
I couldn't convince him that a credit isn't any good to you, stuffed in a mattress. You got to spend, isn't that right?
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to see you about. Now, there's a boy in one of the Milwaukee farm clubs, a left-handed pitcher. I can get him for about $30,000 and a couple of players. And
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, Mr. Castle. You got to spend money. And if we could get a little help in pitching and maybe an outfielder or two...
You mean spend money for baseball players?
Well, yeah. That was what I had in mind.
Now, wait a minute. This baseball team was my father's hobby, like some old men collect stamps or play checkers. Now, in the terms of the will, I can't sell it. But I'm sure not going to throw any good money away on something foolish like baseball players.
Oh, I see.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to need all the cash I can lay my hands on.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've got a chance to buy a 3-pile nuclear racer that'll cut 2 weeks off the round trip to Mars.
Oh, I see. You wouldn't want to spend money on anything as foolish as ball.
That's it. You've got the idea now. Oh, by the way, Mr. Cinderella.
Yeah?
I find it's quite embarrassing to me to have my friends continually make fun of me because the Dodgers are in last place.
Well, as a matter of fact, that gets to be a touchy point with me, too.
Well, I'd like to see it change. So if you don't mind, would you please have them somewhere in a more respectable position, say third or second, within a month or two?
Now, look here, Mr. Castle. I can't make bricks without straw. You won't spend the credit for a ball player, and I can't...
You do your best.
Well, after that interview with the new owner, Rabbit went out and tied one on, and I had to run the ball club for 2 days till we got him straightened out. But I can't say as I blamed him. We won one game in the Grapefruit League. We played the Jacksonville High School team and squeaked out a 13-12 victory. What the Yankees and Braves did to us, I'd rather not say. We opened the season at home, and a mediocre pitcher for Pittsburgh threw a no-hitter at us. Actually, that's not quite accurate. The truth is he just pitched, and we didn't hit anything. We lost 10 straight from opening day, and we didn't lose on the 11th day because it rained. Rabbit and me piled into his 97 copter and flew out to the Castle Estate up near Arrowhead. I was in pretty bad shape. For one thing, Rabbit's copter has a wobble, and I was feeling green around the gills by the time we dropped down on the port. Willie Castle was very excited by the time we finally got to see him. He was puttering around a whole mess of stuff piled up in the middle of the floor.
Say, how do you like this? Isn't it exciting?
Yeah. What is it?
It's a Durgo stick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they use it in Mars in a game played between two villages. You see, all the men on one side line up, and then all the men on the other side try to knock them over with these sticks. Isn't it a beauty?
Yeah. Look, Mr. Castle, I got to speak to you. We got to have a left-handed pitcher.
Oh. You mean for the baseball team?
Yeah, that's right, the baseball team. That's what we got to have a left-handed pitcher for. Yeah.
Well, now, I can't really be bothered with details of that sort. I'm leaving for Mars in the morning. Oh, by the way, I haven't had a chance to look at the standings recently. How are we doing?
Mr. Castle, we may well set them out on record for consecutive games lost. Now, look here. You told me you can't sell the club, and you said you get tired of your friends kidding you about being last. Well, take it from me, Mr. Castle, and I know. Unless we get some ball players on that club, it's going to be last for the next 22 years.
Now, look here, Citadella,
I know you can fire me, but I don't care who you hire as manager. Unless you get him a left-handed pitcher and a couple of other players, that club is going to stay last.
Oh. Oh, well, then I'll see what I can do. Don't worry about it.
What do you mean, don't worry about it? I got to go out there every day and try to make those bums go through the motions.
Now, look, I really have to pack. And besides, I'm expecting a new shipment of equipment from Aberfitch and Comby. Now, just don't worry about it. I'll think of something. Goodbye.
Next day, we lost a doubleheader to Cincinnati by a score faintly reminiscent of basketball. And that's the way it went. Oh, we won a couple here and there. Like they say, you can't lose them all. About the middle of the season, we were so far behind that the local papers just dropped us off the standings, didn't even bother to report it. It was about this time that Willie Castle returned from Mars. He came out to see us at the ballpark just before the massacre.
Well, I noticed, Mr. Cinderella, that we're still in last place.
Yeah, Mr. Castle, we are. We are lucky we are still in the league. With the ball players that you've given me.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I made a small bet with one of the boys at the country club.
Yeah?
Yes. I bet 1,000,000 credits that we'd win the pennant this year.
That's nice.
You don't seem to understand. I expect to win that bet.
Yeah, sure. And I expect to put on a Monroe suit and win the Miss Universe title.
I told you to leave everything to me. Now, I'd like you to come into my office, if you please. I have a few things I'd like to talk over with you. For one thing, I've signed a ball player.
You what? Now, look here, Mr. Castle. This I got to complain about. My contract is clear. No ball player gets signed without my okay.
Just come into my office, please. I'll explain everything.
That night, when Rabbit went up to the plate to hand in the starting lineups, I could tell something was happening. For one thing, old Baldy Snuff, the umpire, was looking at the card like it was written in Arabic.
All right, who's the pitcher?
It's written right there in the card.
Ceramo Castro Perbaco.
What's the matter, can't you read?
Oh, come on now. You kidding? Is he Armenian?
Nope.
Martian. Martian?
That's right. Martian.
Of course, the riot didn't really start until our pitcher got out on the mound. Fred Kurtz, the Milwaukee manager, came running out like he'd been shot from a jet. Baldy Snuff was hollering. The whole Milwaukee bench was looking for a fight, but Rabbit just stood there quiet and calm.
He can't do that. He can't do that. Look at that thing. What is that?
That's my pitcher. We call him Sam.
But you can't play with that. That ain't a ball player. That isn't even a human being.
What are you trying to pull, Rabbit?
Listen, I got my rights. I sign them legal. Here's the contract.
But now look here, Rabbit. You can't get away with that. That thing's only about 2 feet high.
18 inches, as a matter of fact.
But how's he going to pitch? He hasn't even got any arms.
Sure he has. He's got it curled up. Hey, Sam, wind up.
But that arm,
It's 32 feet long.
That ain't legal. You're going to let him get away with that?
Oh, there's one other thing. On the end of that arm, look, you see? That's his eye.
Rabbit, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
Now, take it easy, Kurtz. Take it easy.
Look, I got the papers all here. I've got the United Nations Concordat with the Marshall Colonial Government, a Supreme Court decision in the case of Schultz versus Karawa, Kalpabo, Kalfitz, et al. It's legal. Any Martian citizen is entitled to the same legal rights and privileges as a citizen of Earth. And among those is the right to play ball in a national league.
I protest again. I forfeit the game. Rabbit, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
As a matter of fact, the game that night was postponed because of riot. The next morning, everybody met in the commissioner's office, and sure enough, it was legal. Martian Sam, we come to call him, was the legally signed player for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I told you not to worry. I found Sam in a village just north of Marsport. He's a klugel hunter.
A what?
A klugel hunter. Klugels are fast little animals that run about 80 miles an hour, and the hunters go out and throw rocks at them and kill them. Sam's a klugel hunter. He ought to be a pretty good pitcher.
How about the other clubs? What happens if they get klugel hunters?
Oh, they won't. You see, it's basically contrary to Martian psychology. They won't ever leave their own villages.
Then how come Sam left?
Well, it was an unfortunate accident, really. You see, when I first met him, I gave him a stick of chewing gum.
Yeah?
Well, he got hooked.
What do you mean, hooked?
Well, for Martians, the chicle seems to be habit-forming. Sam is a gum addict. Well, naturally, as soon as this was discovered, the traffic was prohibited. There's a death penalty for importing of chewing gum to Mars. But it was too late for Sam, so he came out with me.
You mean all we got to do is keep him supplied with chewing gum?
That's right. I told you I'd take care of it, didn't I? Now you've got your left-handed pitcher.
Sam pitched that night. He struck out 27 batters, and we won 3-0. Horse Kelly, the catcher, had a little trouble at first, but he soon figured out how to get around it. He'd just hold his mitt up and close his eyes, and when he heard a thunk, he'd reach in and pull the ball out and throw it back to Sam. You can imagine what it was like being a batter up there against Sam. Pitcher's mound is only 60 feet away from the plate as it is, and with Sam's 32-foot arm, well, we didn't lose the game the rest of the season. Of course, we started out so far behind that by the last game of the season, we were tied with the Milwaukees, and we were playing them at Milwaukee. The winner of this game won the pennant. Of course, it was a lead pipe cinch for us. Martian Sam had pitched every day since he joined the club. He looked real cute out on the mound, standing 18 inches high in his little Dodgers uniform and in that long 32-foot arm. We had taken a finished batting practice at Milwaukee County Stadium, and I was standing next to Willie Castle's box talking to him.
Well, it looks like I won't have to be embarrassed about owning the Los Angeles Dodgers anymore, eh?
That's right. With Sam pitching, that means we win the pennant and the series.
Well, I think that's very nice. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of taking the whole team on a barnstorming tour through Mars after the series is over.
Hey, Joe! Oh, Mr. Castle.
Well, what's the matter?
It's Sam.
Well, what's the matter? Is anything wrong with him? Did he get his chewing gum?
Yeah, he got his chewing gum, but he's just lying on the floor in the locker room moaning.
He is? We better get a doctor.
Yeah, and all those scales keep falling off him.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
I know what it is.
What?
It's the molting season. All the scales will fall off. It'll take him a week to grow new scales.
But he can pitch, can't he?
No, he can't. Any violent movement will bring on great pain.
Well, there goes the ball game. Martian Sam can't pitch. We're dead.
put it mild. We were good and dead. We pitched Harry Kosnowski, our best human pitcher, but our best human pitcher was none too good. He rose to the occasion, however, and the score was tied going into the last half of the ninth.
That's the way, Harry, old boy. That's the way. Pour it in. Come on, Harry. You can do it, baby.
Unfortunately, he couldn't. He hit a streak of wildness and walked 3 straight men. Things were very quiet in the Dodgers' dugout. One more walk would force him to run the ball game would be over. Then as we all sat there staring out at the mound where Harry was sweating, we heard a little shuffling noise.
Oh, what's that? Sam! Sam, what are you doing out here?
And then with the little squeaks that he used for talking, Sam told us what he wanted to do. He wanted to pitch.
But, Sam, you can't. You're molten. Your scales. All right, Sam, all right. If that's the way you want it, you get out there. You pitch to that one batter. It's 2 out. You strike him out, it'll go to extra innings, and we'll win the ball game.
So Martian Sam trudged out to the pitcher's mound, his tiny legs lagging with great pain. You could just tell the little guy was hurting bad.
Now pitching for Los Angeles, Martian Sam.
We knew that Sam could do it now. We only had to face one batter and we'd get our chance again. Horse threw the ball out to him, and Sam stood there, his eye on the end of his 32-foot arm, blinking with pain.
All right, batter up. Let's get a batter in there.
The umpire called for the batter, and nobody came out of the Milwaukee dugout.
Hey, come on, let's go. Hey, Kurtz, get a man up in there.
What's the matter, Baldy?
Let's get a batter in there. You're delaying the game.
What do you mean I'm delaying the game?
You get a batter up there.
But I got a batter up there.
What do you mean? There's nobody in the batter's box.
Baldy, I got a contract here for you to read.
What are you talking about?
Here. Read it.
Well, of course, everybody knows what happened. The Milwaukee Braves had signed an intelligent virus from the moons of Jupiter. He was up there in the batter's box, but of course you couldn't see him without an electron microscope. He walked on 4 straight pitches, forcing in a run, and the Milwaukees won the pennant. But like I say, that's baseball. You can't win them all.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Time in the Round by Fritz Leiber, the story of a dictator who suffered more than any dictator in history. He was so puny, and his victims were so impregnable. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Martian Sam, an original story written for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer as Joe, Santos Ortega as Rabbit, Ivor Francis as Willie, Jack Orrison as Baldy, Bob Hastings as Tommy, and Bill Zuckert as Kurtz. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. tonight. Something for Nothing by Robert Sheckley.
I woke up when I thought I heard a voice. But I must have been mistaken because there was no one in my room. There was the same network of cracks in the muddy yellow ceiling and the same water dripping slowly and mournfully through from the roof. I'd seen it 100 times before, the worst room in a cheap hotel. But then, when I swung my feet onto the floor, I saw it. It was a machine on the floor. It hadn't been there when I went to sleep the night before. It was about 3 feet square, and it was humming softly. The crackled gray surface was featureless, except for a red button in one corner and a brass plate in the center. I leaned in closer and read the marking. Class A Utilizer, Series AA1256432. Warning, this machine should be used only by Class A ratings. Hey, where did you come from? A utilizer, huh? What do you utilize? No switches, no knobs, just one red button. Okay, we'll give it a try. Here goes the button. All right, what happens now? Little green men drop from the ceiling? Okay, we'll push it again. Well, come on, do something. Guess I'll have to pawn it. Unless Charlie will give me $1 for the metal for junk. Boy, it's heavy. Can't even get the corner off the floor. They should have sent me somebody to help.
Where do you want it, Mac?
Hey! Where did you come from?
Come on. We haven't got all day. Where do you want it? Lucky it's one of the small ones. The big models up roots to get a grip on.
Who are you?
Moving man. What do I look like? Queen of the May?
But where did you come from? You just appeared in the room. What are you doing here?
I'm from the Power Vinyl Movers Incorporated, and I came because you wanted movers. That's why. Now, where do you want it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Look, you go away. I'll call for you later.
Okay, Mac. It's your problem.
Utilizer, huh? Utilizer. Well, I don't know where you came from, but I know what you are. You're a wishing machine. I suppose most people would be shocked if a wishing machine suddenly showed up in their room. But not me. Most of my life has been spent wishing, hoping, praying that something marvelous would happen to me. In high school, I dreamed of waking up some morning with an ability to know my homework without having to do it. In the Army, I used to wish for some witch to change my orders, put me in charge of the day room instead of forcing me to do close order drill like everyone else. Out of the Army, I avoided work. You see, I'm kind of psychologically unsuited for it. I just drifted around hoping some fabulously wealthy person would for some reason change their will and leave me everything. I never really expected anything to happen, but now it did. All right, machine, let's go. I'd like $1,000 in small unmarked bills. There it is. How about that? 5 pence. They're all dirty. Just perfect. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll get the machine out of New York. Maybe upstate someplace where I won't be bothered by nosy neighbors. I got a lot of problems on the income tax with this sort of thing. Well, maybe I get organized and I'll go to Central America. Hey, what's happening? There's a hole opening up in the wall. What? Somebody's trying to get through to me. The owner of the machine, he's trying to get it back. That hole's getting bigger. Hey, utilizer! Protect me!
Sanisar Leak Temporal Wall Protection Service. What can I do for you?
That man coming through the wall, get rid of him. He's almost through.
Oh, take it easy now. There's plenty of time. Let me see. Where did I put that unit?
There's his head.
Wait a minute. You don't understand. Oh, wait.
Well, that takes care of him. Anything else?
Did you kill him?
Of course not. I just veered him back through his glommage. He won't try that way again.
Well, you mean he'll try some other way?
It's possible. He could attempt a microtransfer or even animation. Say, this is your utilizer, isn't it?
Of course. Sure it is, of course.
Then you're an A rating?
Naturally. I wasn't. What would I be doing with the utilizer?
Oh, no offense. Just being friendly. Well, how you A's get around. I suppose you've come back here to do a history book.
Well, I'm really not permitted to say. You understand, don't you?
Oh, of course. I'll be on my way. One call after another, night and day. I'd be better off in a quarry. Bye.
There I was alone with the machine, with $1,000 in small bills scattered around the floor. Those A ratings, whoever they were, had it pretty good. Want something, just ask for it. Press the button. Well, the next few days marked a great change in my fortunes. With the aid of the power vinyl movers, I took the utilizer to upstate New York. There I bought a medium-sized mountain in a neglected corner of the Adirondacks. And once the papers were in my hands, I walked to the center of my properties, several miles from the highway, with the men from the moving company sweating behind me, carrying the utilizer. On all sides, as far as I could see, were closely spaced forests of birch and pine. The air was sweet and damp. Birds were chirping merrily in the treetops. An occasional squirrel darted by. I always loved nature. This would be the perfect spot to build a large, impressive house with swimming pool, tennis courts, and possibly a small airport. So I pushed the button.
Yes, sir. Can I be of service?
I want a house.
Well, yes, sir, but you really must be more specific. Do you want something classic, like a bungalow, ranch, split-level, mansion, castle, or palace? Or primitive, like an igloo or hut? Since you're an A, you could have something up to the minute, like a semi-face, an extended view, or a sunken miniature.
I don't know. What do you suggest?
A small mansion. They usually start with that.
They do?
Oh, yes. Later, they move to a warm climate and build a palace. Shall we start immediately?
Oh, yeah, sure. Fine. Start immediately. I wanted to ask a couple more questions, but I decided against it. Everything was going too smoothly. These people thought I was an A and the true owner of the utilizer. There wasn't any sense in disenchanting them. The rest of the day, I reclined on a couch and drank iced beverages while the Maxim Ulf Construction Company materialized equipment and put up my house.
Well, now, there you are, sir. Modest, low-slung affair with 20 rooms. Built only of the best materials from the design of Meg of Degmar. Interior by Toeg, Mueller swimming pool, and formal gardens by Varium. It's really the latest thing. With your permission, we'll include a complete layout on it in Galactic House and Gardens.
By evening, it was completed, and the small army of workmen packed up their equipment and then vanished. I allowed my chef to prepare a light supper for me, and afterwards I sat in my cool living room to think the whole thing over. In front of me, humming gently, sat the utilizer. I ordered cigars. Havana. I wonder what's behind it all. Of course, it can't be supernatural. There are no demons or devils in this. My house was built by regular, ordinary human beings. They swore and laughed and cursed like human beings. The utilizer was simply a scientific gadget, which worked on principles that I didn't understand or care to understand. Could it have come from another planet? Not likely. They wouldn't have learned English just for me. And so I decided that the utilizer must have come from the Earth's future. But how? Well, accidents will happen. Why couldn't the utilizer have just slipped back into the past and ended up in my room? What a wonderful future it must be. Wishing machines. How marvelously civilized. All a person has to do is think of something, presto, and there it is. Of course, I had to watch my step. There was still the owner and the rest of the A's. They'd probably try to take the machine away from me. A sudden movement caught my eye. I looked up. The utilizer was quivering. As I walked towards it, a faint mist of steam came out of it. Must be overheating. Maybe a bucket of water. Then I noticed it was becoming smaller. It was no more than 2 feet square and shrinking before my eyes. The owner, perhaps the A's, are causing a micro-transfer that Leek had talked about. I had to do something quickly. I pushed the button. Leak Protection Service.
Well, now look here. I was on my way to the golf course. Must I be disturbed every
Do
time?
something. Look at it. It's shrinking. It's getting smaller. It's getting hot. Do something.
Well, there's nothing I can do. Temporal wall is all I'm licensed for. You want the micro-control people. Bye.
Wait a minute. Come back. It's getting hot. It's getting smaller. I'll press the button again. Micro-control.
With whom do you wish to make an appointment?
Get me help fast. Look, the utilizer is growing smaller. They're micro-transferring it.
Well, Mr. Vergnan is out to lunch. He's disowned himself. I can't reach him.
Well, who can you reach?
Well, Mr. Vierce is in the D continuum, and Mr. Elgis is doing field work in Paleontic Europe. If you're really in a rush, maybe transfer point control. They're a smaller unit.
All right. Transfer point control. Ow! That button's hot. I gotta push it. Gotta push that button. Transfer point control.
Well, what can I do for you? Just a minute. I'll take care of that. There you are. Got just in time, didn't I? Ain't fancy, but we're all reliable.
My hand, my finger, it's burned. Can you do something?
Who, me? Nope, not my department. Do one thing, do it well, I always say. Bye.
My finger, it's burned. Push the button again. Fix me up. Fix my finger. That's better. Much better. The owner of the utilizer didn't try anything for at least a week. But I found that my mansion in the woods had been the wrong thing to do. I had to hire a platoon of guards to keep away sightseers, and hunters insisted on camping in my formal gardens. Also, the Bureau of Internal Revenue began to take a lively interest in my affairs. And so with the aid of the Power Vinyl Movers and the Maxima Oath Construction Company and the Jankston Instantaneous Travel Bureau, and a good deal of money placed in the proper hands, I moved to a small Central American republic. And there, since the climate was warmer and the income tax non-existent, I built a large, airy, ostentatious palace. It came equipped with the usual accessories: horses, dogs, peacocks, servants, musicians, bevies of dancing girls, and everything a palace should have. I spent 2 weeks just exploring the place. One morning, I went up to the utilizer with the vague intention of asking for a sports car, or perhaps a small herd of pedigreed cattle. But as I bent over the gray machine and reached for the red button... Hey, where you going? Hey, you can't move. You weigh a ton. Hold still so I can push the button. Hey, come back here. It's animation, that's what it is. Hey, come back here. I gotta push the button and get some kind of help. Hey, machine, stop. Back into the corner. There we go. There we are. Careful, can't let it get through the door. One side, a little dodge. There. Animation control. Wow, that was close. I can't take any more chances. I better do some big wishing now while I still have the chance. All right, pay attention here, machine. I'll have $5 million, 3 functioning oil wells, a motion picture studio, perfect health, 25 more dancing girls, immortality, a sports car, and a herd of pedigreed cattle. What is it? What happened? The utilizer. It's gone. Where is it? Wait a minute. What happened to me? I'm gone, too. Where am I?
Oh, it's perfectly all right, sir. You can open your eyes now.
Where am I? What happened? I was in my room. Where am I now? Where's the utilizer?
Oh, it's been returned to stock.
Wait a minute. You're the one that tried to come through the wall. You're the owner.
Won't you have a chair?
Well, I guess it's all over, isn't it? The A's finally caught me. Well, it was glorious while it lasted.
Cigarette?
No. Well, you got your machine back now. What else do you want?
My machine? Well, it's not my machine, sir. Not at all.
Oh, don't try to kid me, mister. You A ratings want to protect your monopoly, don't you?
My name is Flynn. I'm an agent for the Citizens Protective Union, a non-profit organization whose aim is to protect individuals such as yourself from errors of judgment.
You mean you're not one of the A's?
Well, you're laboring under a misapprehension, sir. The A rating does not represent a social group as you seem to believe.
You mean it's not an aristocracy, a hereditary...
Oh, goodness, no. An A rating is merely a credit rating.
A what?
A credit rating. Well, now, you haven't got much time, so I'll make this as brief as possible here. You're quite correct, sir, that this is the future, as you put it. Ours is a decentralized age, sir. Our businesses, industries, and services are scattered throughout an appreciable portion of space and time. Now, the utilization corporation that produces the utilizer is an essential link. It provides for the transfer of goods and services from point to point. Do you understand?
Well, yeah. I get it.
Well, credit, of course, is an automatic privilege. But eventually, everything must be paid for.
Paid for? Hey, nobody said anything about paying. What are you talking about?
Well, now, of course, you certainly couldn't have expected to be provided with all these services without paying.
Well, why didn't somebody stop me? They must have known I didn't have a proper rating.
Oh, credit ratings are suggestions, not laws. In a civilized world, an individual has the right to his own decision. I'm very sorry, sir. Now, would you care to look at this bill and tell me whether it's an order?
Bill? What bill?
For all the services that you ordered from the utilizer. There they are. There's one palace with accessories, credit $450 million. Services Maxima Alt Movers, 111,000 credits. 122 dancing girls, 1,222,000. Perfect Health, 8,882,422. Well, there's a whole list of them here. The total comes to slightly less than 18 million credits.
Hey, wait a minute. I can't be held to this. The utilizer just dropped into my room by accident.
Well, that's the very fact I'm going to bring to their attention.
What's going to happen to me?
Oh, it's already happened. You've been adjudged through bankruptcy court. Good luck. Goodbye.
What? Where am I? What happened? Where is this place?
All right, buddy, on your feet.
Who are you?
On your feet, Mac. Here, take this.
What is it?
It's a pick. And over there is a quarry where you and I and a couple of others are going to cut marble.
Marble?
Sure. There's always some idiot who wants a palace. You better get working now, boy. They'll hand you a touch of that electronic whip.
What do you mean?
You'll find out. You can call me Jang. We'll be together for some time.
How long?
You work it out. The rate is 50 credits a month until your debt is paid off.
They can't do this to me. It's all a mistake. It was their fault they left the machine. They let it slip into the past. It's all a mistake.
It's no mistake. They're short of labor. They don't want to go recruiting all over for it. Come on. After the first 1,000 years, you won't mind it.
The first 1,000 years? I won't live that long.
Sure you will. You got immortality, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I wished for it just before they took back the machine.
Sure you did.
Hey, wait a minute. That bill that Flynn showed me. I didn't see immortality on that bill. How much did they charge me for immortality?
Oh, don't be naive, pal. You should have figured it out by now. Naturally, they give that away for nothing. Now grab your pick. Let's go.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Founding Father by Clifford D. Simak, the story of a man whose job was to be first in the hearts of his countrymen, if he ever managed to find them. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Something for Nothing, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Joseph Julian as Joe, with Danny Acco, Jock McGregor, John Gibson, Wendell Holmes, Ralph Bell, and Karen Ford. Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Scanning the globe ever watchful, the NBC Radio News Department maintains a 24-hour vigil on the world. From the UN, from Washington, from the Middle East, NBC Radio newsmen are on the beam, reporting the news from where it happens, as it happens. Every minute of the day, news streams into the NBC newsroom, is sifted and evaluated. Every 60 minutes, the most important stories are broadcast to you by top commentators like Chet Huntley, David Brinkley, and Alex Dreyer on News on the Hour. And when the hot stories break, you get them in a flash on Hotline. It's like having a seat in the NBC Radio newsroom. Listen for News on the Hour and the exclusive Hotline service all day, every day on most of these stations.
The Magic Island is once more a dread name to Mrs. Gregory and her little band of friends. When they made their escape from the island through messages carried to another boat by homing pigeons, things looked favorable for a few short hours, but now the future is as black as it could be painted. Recaptured by a Euclidean submarine and being towed back to the island by their submerged captor, Tex Bradford and Jerry Hall are on the deck, wondering what their fate will be. Mrs. Gregory and her daughter Joan are aboard the submarine. As Jerry and Tex notice a sudden list to starboard, the old skipper comes running with the news that they're shipping water through a bad hole in the hull, chopped by the Euclidean who was their prisoner.
You're sure of that, Skipper?
Aye.
But how could that guy get loose? He was tied down with everything in the hold.
Wasn't enough, though, Jerry. He's gone. Kicked the side out of our boat doing it. We've got to do something about slapping a patch on that hole, so the submarine won't have to bother to tow us much farther.
Well, let's go and see what we can do about them, Tex.
Hold it a minute, Jerry. Think you and McLeod can get a patch over that hole, Skipper?
Aye.
But without motors, we haven't got any pumps.
No.
Well, shove off, Skipper, and get Mac working on that thing. If you can't stop it, we'll signal the sub to take us aboard.
Aye.
And sound out for us if you can't handle it.
Aye.
Gosh, the skipper looks like he'd just as soon drown as get on board that submarine.
Can't blame him much for that, son.
Things look pretty bad, don't they, Tex?
Well, they have looked brighter, but we won't give up.
I hope Mrs. Gregory and Joan are all right in that crazy Euclidean submarine.
Jerry, my optimism has led me into trouble more than once. But I can't believe that we won't find our way out of this somehow.
I'm not scared about it. Well, yes, I am. Plenty scared. But we've been on the island before, and we got away from it. Why can't we do it again?
Well, they won't be disposed to treat us quite so kindly this time.
I don't know about that. Now, look, Captain Bradford, I think there must be some mighty good reason for wanting us to stay alive. Maybe it's your formula for the universal solvent. Maybe it's for what they think we know about our world that they don't know. But whatever it is, if they were going to do anything to us, well, why don't they just sink this boat and let it go at that?
Well, that's one way to look at it, Jerry. And it's pleasant to look at it that way. They may decide to bring a little more pressure to bear on us this time.
You mean torture you into giving them the formula?
I wouldn't put it past them.
But, gee, Tex, you'd give up the formula before you'd let them... Well, wouldn't you?
Yes, Jerry, I'm afraid I would. There's very little satisfaction in being put out of the way entirely. If worse comes to worse, I'll give them the real formula and take a chance on beating them to the use of it.
Well, we'd have to try and make another escape then.
We'll have to do that anyway if they give us a chance, but it won't be so easy now.
Yeah, and they probably won't let us live on this boat.
Not much chance of that, unless they don't trust us on the island. After what you and Joan did to them, they're not sure how dangerous we may be.
Not really dangerous to them. Well, they could get rid of us in a minute if they wanted to.
Sure, but now they don't want to. They wouldn't be taking us back to the island so carefully.
Hey, the boat's riding better now.
Seems to be on more even keel. Mac and the skipper must have been able to stick something in that hole. Riding low in the water, though. We ship plenty of moisture.
Well, it can sink if it wants to, just so we land on something.
I managed to smuggle most of my instruments on this boat with us. They'll take those away the minute we get back to the island.
Well, I guess there's no use guessing. But golly whiskers, I'm nervous about what they're going to do to us.
We won't be in doubt long. At this speed, we'll reach the island in an hour, possibly less.
Hey, Tex, did you hear that?
I did hear something. Sounded like our radio. Jerry, maybe we've got juice enough left in those batteries to pick up a carrier wave.
No, it wasn't that. It was a ray gun.
A ray gun?
Yeah, one of those Euclidean ray guns, like the two Joan and I took away from that guard we took prisoner.
But where could it come from?
I don't know.
Oh, you must be imagining things, kid. That was a radio squeal.
No, it wasn't, Tex. I've heard all sorts of noises come out of radio sets, but none of them made my hair stand on end like this one did. There's something about the high whine of those ray guns. It sounds... There it goes again.
Yeah, I heard it plenty enough that time. Those things certainly have an unearthly wail. Where did it come from?
Sounded right under our feet.
How could it come from there? Will they work underwater?
Not very well, and not that loud.
I wonder.
What?
That Euclidean guard we had tied up in the hold.
But he's gone. Escaped when he cut that hole in the boat, just about daylight.
He's gone? Where'd he go?
On board the sub, I suppose.
He couldn't have boarded that sub, Jerry. We saw the hatch and the nose open. No one went in there but that woman submarine commander and Mrs. Gregory and Joan.
No, not in the hatch.
Well, where else?
Well, those subs have an airlock. He could have been taken aboard while he was swimming underwater, and we couldn't possibly have seen him.
Then he's been in the water all the time. I remember that we had no power. He could have ridden that rudder post for hours with comparative ease.
But who would he be shooting those ray guns at?
Maybe the skipper or Mac stuck their heads up over the stern.
No, they're still below.
Below, that's it, kid. Scatter for that stern hatch, quick. And walk on your toes now. Don't make a sound.
What's up?
That Euclidean never left this boat.
He what?
I'm sure of it. He knocked that hole in the side to make it look like an escape. Then he hid in the hole until the skipper and Mac fixed the leak. Now that he's in no danger of drowning, he used that ray gun to put the boys to sleep. We'll meet him at the hatch and fix him up with a little nap.
We mustn't use a ray gun on him.
Why not?
Well, the girl sub-commander is supposed to have our ray guns. And if we use one now, this guy will know we still have them.
Good boy, Jerry. You think fast sometimes. All right, now look. We'll sneak up on each side of that companionway. He can't see us till he hits the deck with 1 foot. We'll let him have it.
But his ray gun.
Can't put more than one of us to sleep with 1 shot. And the other one can have him tapped on the air by that time.
Okay, Tex.
Now, not a sound till we land him.
Yeah. Gee. But that guy was hard to handle. Tex. Hey, Tex.
Feel a little sleepy, Jerry.
Oh, come on. Walk around with me. I'll help you.
That ray gun.
You just about hit the end of your fingers with it. If you try hard, maybe you can walk it off and stay awake.
Not yet, but I'll try.
Oh, come on, then. Try.
Sure, I'll try.
Now, lean on me as heavy as you want to.
How did you fix our friend?
Well, I didn't have anything to hit him with, but I got a chance to jerk his head against the combing. He'll be quiet for a while.
Good boy, Jerry. Is the boat rolling a lot, or are my legs just unsteady?
Well, the water's beginning to boil around this rail. I'll bet that blamed sub is coming up again.
No, it feels like we've lost seaway.
Well, I should have noticed that a long time ago. We're not making any way at all. They've dropped our bow anchor. And there goes the nose of the blame thing.
Someday that girl's going to tip the boat over. Coming up under it like a whale.
Oh, not that girl. She's too smart. And what she can't do with that submarine isn't worth doing.
You know, Jerry, that's the weirdest sight. End of a sub sticking straight up out of the water and just as steady as a lighthouse.
Hey, here comes the commander. I can see her hand coming up on the bow platform.
Yeah, and you still insist that girl is a friend of ours?
I know she is. Now sit up straight as you can.
All right, but I can't see very well, kid.
Keep your face pointed toward the noise of her voice. I'll do the talking.
What is the meaning of this?
Meaning of what?
That boat is becoming harder to move. I should think, Hall, that you would realize the hopelessness of your situation by this time and attempt no foolish moves.
Well, we can't help it if your Euclidean prisoner escaped and cut a hole in our boat, can we?
Where is the Euclidean guard now?
Oh, he's back there at the stern somewhere.
And what is he doing?
Taking a little nap last time I saw him.
Have you nothing to say, Captain Bradford?
Well, no. The captain, he's,
I understand perfectly. The captain is asleep.
He's mighty tired.
You haven't forgotten my teaching so quickly, have you, Hall? A ray gun will register on my instrument.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, what's the matter with Tex, then? That Euclidean we thought was safely tied up in the hold was hiding somewhere in the boat, and he used his ray gun on the engineer and our skipper. And when we tried to catch him, well, Tex got a little of it, too.
What was the size of the gun?
Well, one of those little 300 seconds, like we've, like we had once.
That is well. And the guard is where now?
Well, he got rough with us back there near the engine room hatch, and I had to bump his head on the combing to keep him quiet.
You will do well to guard him closely until I deliver you safely to G47. That man will not hesitate to harm you.
No. I suppose you think old G47 is going to give us a picnic.
G47 will give you what he thinks your case warrants. Is the leak in your boat sufficiently repaired to indicate possibility of successfully towing you to Euclidia?
Well, it stopped leaking, if that's a big enough answer for you.
Your attempts to converse with me as an equal are rather futile, are they not?
Maybe so, but I get 'em said.
You have said far too much. I will resume my position under your bow, and the bow anchor will be picked up by the stern magnetic fin. We will reach the island in 1800 seconds.
Oh, half an hour, huh? Okay, Skipper. We'll hang on. How are Mrs. Gregory and Joan?
They are in my care.
That might mean anything.
Indeed, it might.
Whisker. Now, this is a fine pickle. McLeod and the old skipper asleep in the hold, and Tex sleeping on the rail, and, well, if that guard starts up this way, I hope I can handle him.
I'll help you, kid.
Oh, gee, Tex, are you all right?
Well, I have felt better, but waking up a little, and I can tell what goes on around me.
Well, the sub has gone under again, and she'll be picking up our bow anchor any minute.
How much time did she say we had before we get to the island?
Half hour. Why?
Well, we might have a chance to plan a little something, but the hope isn't very strong.
And that Euclidean back there at the stern won't stay asleep much longer. If that's only a 300-second ray gun, he ought to be coming out of it now.
That sub just picked up our anchor?
Yeah, we're starting to move now. And the commander said only 1,800 seconds to Euclidean.
Oh, forget the 1,800-second stuff, Jerry. Let's talk like white people for the few minutes we have left.
Well, that stuff gets me, though. I'm getting so I talk just like those Euclideans.
Yeah, not exactly, but...
Hey! Here comes that Euclidean guard, sneaking around the corner of the aft cabin.
I can't see very well. Has he got his ray gun?
Sure he has.
Then you'll have to use yours if he crowds it.
But that way, he'll find out we have them.
He'll find it out anyway if he puts us to sleep and searches us.
Tex, wait a minute. I think we're going to be all right.
What's going on?
The old skipper. He's in his bare feet, sneaking up behind that Euclidean.
Has he got a gun?
No, but he's got a monkey wrench. And he's going to use it. Oh, boy, what a sock.
Did the skipper get him, Jerry?
I'll say he got him. And he'll be asleep longer than any of those ray guns would be good for. That old skipper can sure use a monkey wrench.
Back to the Magic Island. That strange artificial island called Euclidia, which held the Gregory party prisoner for so long, is to become their stopping place once more. When Mrs. Gregory, Joan, Jerry, and Captain Bradford made their escape on a small cabin cruiser, with their faithful old skipper and the Scotch engineer McLeod, all seemed well. But the Euclideans are not so easily beaten. The submarine, commanded by the beautiful young woman whom the Euclideans call Commander, has brought them back to the island. The surface of the island is above water now, and apparently the Euclideans feel no danger near them, as Euclidia is open to view from all sides. Jerry and Tex Bradford are standing at the bow of the boat as they drift slowly but steadily to the island.
Gee, Captain Bradford, this is almost like it was the first time we landed here.
Yes, Jerry, except that we had high hopes then.
Well, we're not done yet.
That's right, we're not whipped. Things could look more pleasant.
It feels just as weird as it did that first time. The boat without any power, being pulled to that island just as smoothly as if they had a line tied to it.
They might as well have one. That eternal magnetic force will pull in any boat on the ocean. They must feel mighty sure of themselves today. They're not using the magnetic fog ring around the island.
Yeah, I noticed that, too. And it's a clear day. Say, there isn't a soul in sight on the island.
Our arrival can't be of much importance.
I'll bet it's plenty important.
That sub must be docked down there by now.
Well, sure it is. They ram the nose of that thing right into an airlock on the side of the island and unload through the nose. Gee, I wonder where Mrs. Gregory and Joan are now.
That woman commander has probably turned them over to G47 for questioning.
Oh, I wish you and I could be there to help them out. You know, it needs a man at a time like this.
You're right, Jerry. But I'm afraid we'll be some time getting back together.
Well, they may keep us apart from now on.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
We're going to have a harder time escaping.
We'll have no chance at all to escape. Jerry, our only hope will be to take over this island, and that's a job.
Well, I wish they'd start something. This dragging along up to the pier without seeing anyone move on the island is getting on my nerves.
Somebody will be out to take care of us. Don't be in a hurry for your punishment.
Now we're sliding along the pier, and the boat is being warped in as carefully as you could do it with a line.
Not quite as impressive as the first time they did it to us, though. We've seen it before.
Hey, Tex, look.
That magnetic fog ring being thrown up around us now, eh?
Yeah, and all around the island.
When that fog closes in, you can feel the power of this mad island.
You know, Euclidia becomes mighty real, all right, when you see them shutting us off from the world just as easy as we turn off the gas jet back home.
And I think we're going to get our welcome before long.
Why?
Isn't that one of their elevator housings rising up out of the island?
Yeah. But that's funny. There wasn't any elevator there when we were here before.
Steady, Jerry. Things are wild enough here without allowing yourself any daydreams.
Well, I know what I'm talking about, Tex. That elevator wasn't there when we were here before. They must have built it.
Jerry, when we were here before means last night.
Huh?
Don't you realize we've been off this island only a matter of hours?
Golly whiskers. You're right. And they couldn't have rebuilt that island and stick in another elevator shaft that fast.
Of course they couldn't. So you must be mistaken.
No, I'm not mistaken. I don't know how that elevator got there so quick, but there wasn't any elevator on this side of the island yesterday.
Wait a minute. I've got it, kid. We're coming in from the south this time.
Oh, no, we're not. And you know we're not. That island's been turned around.
Turned around?
I'm not dreaming, Tex. Look at the position of the defense chambers and the main radio room. And look at this pier. It's on the north side of the island. Just the same position they pulled us into before. But it isn't the same pier.
But do you realize what you're saying, Jerry?
Sure I do.
Then you think they can move this island? I don't mean just submerge it and then raise it again as we saw them do. I mean actually move the entire island?
I'm as sure as I'm standing here that they've already moved it.
Huh. And we're going to escape from a setup like this? Huh.
Maybe we'd better not talk any more about what we're going to do. Here comes the Euclideans.
Say, that was an elevator. There's an even dozen men coming over here.
And every one of them are carrying those big ray guns.
They're not just sleep producers like the ones we...
Careful.
Sure.
No, those guns put you to sleep so you won't wake up at all.
Then listen, we'll do exactly as they say.
Wait, this spooky place is beginning to get me going again. Look at all those fellas walking right up to us. And their heavy shoes not making a sound. You know, they're walking on rocks.
It's that noiseless paint again. Well, our freedom is over, son. Now keep your chin up.
Right. And I'll let you do all the talking.
Yes, I hope they give me a chance to talk. Their faces don't look as if they'd come for a friendly chat.
Oh, let them start it.
Good idea. Well?
Guess we just stand and look at each other.
Well, what do you want us to do? Won't somebody say something?
I will.
Better not, Jerry.
Oh, at least they can loosen up enough to make motions.
Yes, and they want us to come over on the pier.
Wonder if they'll let us get McLeod and the skipper, too.
How about our friends? Do we bring them along?
The answer is no. And they're getting tired waiting for us, I'm afraid.
Well, we may as well go. Now, look, don't make any passes at them.
Don't worry, I won't. Boy, those old footsteps sound pretty good. You may not hear any more of them for a long time.
No, that soundproof paint will spoil all that.
Well, here we are. What now?
Follow you? No? Oh, I see. Get in the middle, son.
Nice place to be with a ring of those ray guns all around us. Hey, I don't need to stick that thing into my ribs.
Easy, Jerry. They want us to go along with them. Let's go and save our conversation for some other time.
Yeah, if we get a chance to use it at all. All right, I'll keep quiet.
I don't see any reason why we can't talk. Everyone on this island can hear us, so they don't have to worry about anything we might say.
Well, I guess we can talk all right, just so as we don't get in the wrong cracks.
And we'd better say nothing.
Say, that is a new elevator. Are we going down in that thing?
No questions, kid.
No answers either, but it looks like we are.
We are.
You never had a ride in one of these things, did you?
Not as many as you and Joan had.
You know, some of them do tricks with you.
Well, these kind gentlemen are going to ride with us, Jerry. They'll probably experience nothing out of the ordinary.
Watch this operate now.
I'm watching.
And listen, wait till a big magnet grabs the car. And you can count the floors as we pass them.
Jerry, we're dropping now.
Yeah, and I didn't hear any magnet.
That's more like a hydraulic to me, or compressed air.
My stomach tells me we're going down pretty fast.
At least I haven't been able to count any floors.
Oh, boy, what a ride. Ooh.
Looks like we get out here, Jerry.
I wonder which level we're on.
Our steps sound awfully loud here. All right, fellow, I'll go. No need to get so rough about it.
You know, G47 has told these boys to handle us pretty rough.
Yeah, well, they're doing it. Might as well go where they want us to.
Well, I never saw this part of the island before. Hey, Tex.
What?
Listen.
To what?
To our voices. We're in one of those blame echo chambers where everything sounds about twice as loud as it is.
There is a hollow ring to it, all right. Well, this is the end of the passage, so I judge we'll stop here.
I think they want us to go on in.
We go in without you? Okay. Come on, Jerry.
Well, at least we're alone.
Yes, with about 100 microphones picking up every sound we make, I suppose.
Well, I wish we could get out of this blame echo thing.
What are we supposed to do here, I wonder?
Well, this looks like a little hall, and I can see 4 doors. Let's start knocking on doors and see who lives here. We're in a steel cell, and that's for sure.
Yes, the way that door clanged shut behind us didn't leave much doubt as to that.
Think it's all right if I knock on the door?
Might as well find out where we are.
Okay, here goes. Golly whiskers.
You shouldn't knock so hard, Jerry.
I didn't. I just...
Oh, Terry!
Are you all right?
It's right. John and I are all right, Tex, and you and Jerry?
Not hurt a bit, Pat.
Our outlook has not been particularly pleasant during this enforced separation. Your welfare has given us some concern.
Well, you're okay, Joan. Whenever you start to unwind the dictionary, I can tell you're right side up and ready for another round.
It does seem as if your attempts at conversation grow more confusing and illogical with each attempt.
Oh, is that so?
Now, you two kids stop quarreling.
Oh, I don't mind it, Tex. The last few hours have proven to me that I can stand anything if only we're all together.
How much chance have we to stay together on this island?
Our hurried observations made during a brief tenancy of this apartment would warrant a conclusion that we will all be confined in this series of chambers, with many privileges.
You couldn't work in something about the privilege of escaping, could you?
Quiet, Jerry. Someone may be hearing all we say.
We know they are. John says these walls are made of transparent steel, and that they can watch us from the outside at all times. But I see no reason why we shouldn't talk as we please. G47 and his assistants will know that escape is our one thought.
Yeah, and that's probably a lot of wasted thinking.
Indubitably.
Probably all's all right.
Now, will you two be quiet for a minute? Do we have a chance to look around? How about closing this door?
It's not necessary. That short outer hall is ours, and we have 4 private rooms here, all connected by the hall.
Well, it looks as if we're going to be comfortable for the present.
And there is a refrigeration chamber well stocked with food and appliances for its preparation. It would appear that we are to be left alone to our own devices, for the time at least.
Good. Maybe we can figure something out. If we only had our stuff off the boat.
We'll have that, Jerry. The submarine commander told us our possessions would be brought to us in time.
Yes, after G47 has looked them over carefully, of course.
The little homing pigeons we are to have here.
Golly whiskers, that's swell.
What good will the pigeons do us, Jerry? Don't forget, we're 90 feet below the surface of the ocean, in a steel chamber on an artificial island.
It doesn't sound like much of a picnic when you add it up that way, Pat. Pigeons or airships. Nothing can do us much good here.
Well, they must be going to do something with us. What is it?
This confinement with the continuous reverberation of our voices will rapidly reach the state of exquisite torture.
Joan, dear, you think this terrible echo is deliberate? A method of punishment?
I know it is, Mother. During my lifetime on this island, many people have been placed in these echo cells, and it is only a short time until they will do anything G47 desires to escape from their own voices.
Yes, I can see how that would work. It wouldn't be long until the sound of voices here would drive one mad.
Oh, gee, we've got to talk, or we'd go mad anyway.
The program you are about to hear is fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell, Jr.
Let's consider the proposition that interplanetary spaceflight has become a commercial proposition. There are regular liners running between the planets. And the Martian Queen, we'll say, is such a liner. A spaceship making a short run orbit from Mars to Earth. This time she's carrying 150 passengers and a crew of 30 or so. She's made a long, uneventful trip from space, and now she's approaching the last leg of her voyage, the deceleration for landing.
Your attention, please. Throughout the trip, artificial gravity has been maintained by spin around the long axis of the ship. In 3 minutes, the gyros will begin to slow the spin. We have to stop the rotation around the axis of the ship in order to apply thrust along it. Please get into your bunks and fasten your safety belts.
At the appointed time, gyros cut in, slowing the spin on the ship. When the rotation had stopped, the skipper of the Martian Queen and his navigator were ready to begin the actual landing.
How's our course, Captain?
Dead on, Captain Deering. We're approaching Earth a little over 60 miles per second.
I hate to land at this speed. How much time do we have?
15 seconds. The rocket tubes are aligned properly with respect to Earth. The timer is set. Ready?
Strapped in and ready. Keep her on automatic till the last 5,000 feet. I'll bring her down from there manually.
Right, sir. There she goes.
Blue, the engine room. Get engineering on the intercom. We're out of control. We're dropping straight toward Earth.
The Martian Queen had been heading towards White Sands Spaceport, and as a matter of course, the radar teams at White Sands had been alerted for the landing. They had the ship pinpointed in their screens, and when the Martian Queen stopped decelerating, they knew there was something wrong. The major in charge of Control Tower 1 put in a fast emergency call to the commanding officer of White Sands Spaceport.
General Stanley speaking. What's that, Major? The Martian Queen. Where? Yes, I understand. All right, get all data you can on her. Now, keep the radar tracking as long as possible and try to compute an orbit. I want to know where she's going to hit. And get a tight beam communications line to that ship. I want to speak to Captain Deering personally. Yes, Major, I'll be right over. Sergeant, get my Jeep out in front fast. We're going to Control Tower 1. I'll be ready to gun it. This is a Class AAA emergency. Major, have you made tight beam connections with the Martian Queen? Yes, sir. Good. Now I'll take the microphone. Hello, Captain Deering. This is General Stanley at White Sands. Can you hear me?
This is Deering. You're coming in fine, General.
What the devil happened up there?
Explosion in the engine room. Don't know what caused it. 4 men dead and the rocket tubes are gone.
What about the main converter?
Almost completely gone. It's one that didn't blow into fragments when it went. There's plenty of heat and radiation. The engine crew must have died almost instantly.
Well, what about these secondary converters?
Nothing left of them but molten metal and slag.
You've got no way to slow down the ship or change its course?
No way whatever, General. Our only hope is that we don't hit Earth. If we are on a collision course, we're finished.
I know. Let's hope you go on past Earth without hitting it. Now, we have a radar fix on you, but it isn't accurate at this distance. Now, get your navigator busy. Now, we want your coordinates and velocity as close as you can figure them. Oh, keep this line open. I'll call you as soon as I can get more information.
Right. I'll get Blevin busy on those figures. Over.
Over. Oh, Major.
Yes, sir.
Keep that line open no matter what happens. As soon as Captain Deering gives you those figures, have them coded and put through the big computer. Try to get a closer radar fix and put that data through the computer, too. I want an orbit on the Martian Queen that's as close as skin. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Good. And keep this whole thing quiet. Nobody is to know that the Martian Queen is in trouble till I've notified the Secretary of Special Affairs in Washington. Meanwhile, I'll have to use your phone. Operator, this is Major General Stanley. I want to put in a person-to-person emergency call to the Secretary of Special Affairs, Washington, D.C. Call me back as soon as he's on the line. There are lives at stake. Hello, experimental station? General Stanley here. Now, let me talk to Colonel Ashmore. I don't care what he's doing. Get him on the phone. Colonel Ashmore, Stanley. What's the top acceleration of that new experimental job? That's right, the XV-19. Good. I want you to have it loaded, primed, and ready to go within 10 minutes. Emergency. I'll say it's an emergency. I want you to move faster than you've ever moved before. I want the XV-19 rocket out on the launching pad and ready within 10 minutes. Now, that's an order. And keep this under your hat. If a word of this leaks out or if that ship isn't ready to go on time, I'll see to it that you never wear those birds on your shoulder again. Is that clear? Good. Keep your line open for further orders.
60 miles per second isn't terribly fast as far as celestial objects are concerned. But 60 miles per second is 216,000 miles per hour. And when the Martian Queen had had her accident, she was already close in to Earth. Something had to be done within the next 25 minutes. But what can be done in only 25 minutes?
Captain, I just got word from First Officer Haggerty. There's trouble. Some of the passengers are getting space sick from being in free fall. They're wondering why the ship isn't decelerating.
Just have to take it a while longer. Did you get those figures relayed down to General Stanley?
Yes, they said to hold on and give us the data as soon as possible. But the passengers...
I know. What did you want me to do? Tell them that the Martian Queen might be headed for the biggest, most spectacular crack-up in history? That'd be real smart, wouldn't it?
Well, I didn't mean it that way, Skipper. I was...
Thanks the radio phone. That's White Sands again. Deering here.
Deering, this is Stanley. How's everything?
The same as ever. No propulsion, no escape. How does our orbit look?
We have your coordinates down to a hair. We know within a mile or two where you'll hit.
Then we will hit Earth. Well, that does it, doesn't it?
I'm afraid so. If nothing happens between now and then, you're going to get a hot dunk in the ocean.
I see. Where will we hit?
Give or take a mile or so, you'll hit Long Island Sound, about 10 miles south of Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Well, You do what has to be done, General. You can depend on me for my end of it.
I knew I could. Well, I'll let you know how things work out.
I'll be waiting.
The seconds tick by, and every second that passes brings the Martian Queen 60 miles closer to Earth. At that speed, it doesn't take long to move a few thousand miles. The Martian Queen was heading toward death at 3,600 miles a minute.
Captain Deering, this is Stanley again. Colonel Arthmore just phoned. We're sending up the XV-19, a super-fast high-acceleration rocket. It's the only thing that can possibly reach you in time, and even so, it'll be a close thing. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get in touch with the Secretary of Spatial Affairs, but he's out of his office right now. I'll let you know when to expect the rocket.
All right, General. We'll be ready. Over.
Over.
Captain, I just came from the dining hall. Some of the passengers got out of their bunks and looked out the big viewport. And then they could see Earth, and they could see we're falling toward it. One of them started fighting with First Officer Haggerty, and the thing has ended up in a riot.
The crazy fools. There's no time to be fighting. Can't the crew do anything?
They're trying, but it's pretty rough.
Give me that microphone. Your attention, please. This is Captain Deering. Please, your attention. There has been an accident. The drive engines of the ship have been disabled, and we're in a free-fall orbit. However, there is no reason to become panicked. We are in contact with White Sands Spaceport, and we've been notified that everything is under control. Now, some of you have been worried by the sight of Earth through the viewport, but I assure you we are in no danger of striking Earth. I repeat, the Martian Queen absolutely will not strike Earth. I'm well aware that this gravity-less condition is uncomfortable to many of you, but please have patience. It will only last for a few more minutes. I suggest that all of you return to your cabins and strap yourselves in. If acceleration were to return suddenly, anyone not strapped down might be seriously hurt. Please return to your cabins. Thank you. Well, that'll help some. Blevin, you go down and talk to them. Give them the same sort of information I gave them. And, Blevin.
Yes, sir.
Isn't one of the passengers a minister?
Yes, sir. The Reverend James Taylor, I think his name is. He was a missionary on Mars.
Yeah, well, get him to help you. Sometimes people will listen to a clergyman when they won't pay attention to a space officer.
Right, sir. I'll do what I can.
Just a minute. That's Stanley. Yes, Deering here.
Deering, the XV-19 is on the launching pad now, loaded and ready to go. I haven't been able to get hold of the Secretary of Spatial Affairs yet, but there isn't time to wait. I just got the signal, Deering. The XV-19 has left the launching pad. It will be up to you to guide it into the Martian Queen. Good luck, Deering.
Thanks. But you'll need the good luck more than I will. So, good luck and goodbye. Okay, Blevin. Go down and give them a speech.
This is Major General Stanley at White Sands Spaceport. I have been trying to get the Secretary of Spatial Affairs person-to-person Washington, D.C. It has been 20 minutes now. But he's on the line. All right. Oh, hello, Mr. Secretary.
Hello, General. I got to my office as soon as I heard. I've read the teletype report that you sent to my office. Is the Martian Queen definitely going to land in Long Island Sound?
If it isn't stopped, yes.
Well, is there any way at all of getting the drive going again?
No, sir. Captain Deering stated flatly that the main converter and the secondaries are absolutely and completely ruined. It would take weeks to repair them. We only have minutes.
Then we'll have to send up a rescue ship.
That's impossible, sir. A rescue ship would never make it in time. It would have to accelerate to take off, decelerate to match the Martian Queen's velocity, and then accelerate to keep from hitting Earth along with the Queen. All in all, it would take more than an hour, using every bit of acceleration a human being could stand.
Then there's absolutely no way we can save them.
None whatever, sir. There just isn't time.
Well, just lucky this time, I suppose.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, it could have been worse. What if it landed in a populated area like New York City instead of Long Island Sound?
You don't understand, Mr. Secretary. It isn't the Long Island Sound we have to worry about. It's the spaceship sound.
What do you mean?
Just what I said. It doesn't matter whether the Martian Queen hits Long Island Sound or New York City itself. The results will be almost the same. It's the sound waves, the noise that will do the damage.
I don't quite understand.
You know what happens when a supersonic jet plane flies too low over a city, don't you? At 1,500 miles an hour, the shock wave from a jet plane can break windows from miles around. What do you think will happen when that spaceship comes in at 216,000 miles an hour? It will flatten every structure within a 50-mile radius. If that ship hits Long Island Sound, New York City will be toppling in ruins before it ever arrives. From Newark, New Jersey to Hartford, Connecticut, that shock wave will knock over everything standing.
Can we evacuate the area?
In a few minutes, well, hardly.
What do you suggest, General?
There's only one thing we can possibly do. Send up a rocket with an atomic bomb in it and blow that ship into gas before it hits.
Are you crazy, General? Blow up 180 innocent people? I can't permit that. It's murder.
Murder? Is it murder to kill people who are already doomed? Is it murder to save the lives of 20 million people?
There must be another way. General, I order you to send up a rescue ship immediately.
Listen, you blockhead. Do you understand that it is impossible to send up a rescue ship? Do you understand that I can't pull miracles out of a hat? We could no more get a rescue ship up there in time than we could catch the Martian Queen with our bare hands.
You can't talk to me that way, General.
I'm sorry. I'm simply trying to get you to understand there's only one way out. Those people in that spaceship are going to die, no matter what we do. It would be better if they died without taking a few million more people with them.
There must be some other way.
Do you have any suggestions?
Well, no.
Exactly. There isn't any other way. Now, do I have your permission to send up that bomb?
No. We've got to think of something else.
It's no use. I just looked at the clock, Mr. Secretary. It's too late to do anything at all now. Even if you ordered it, a rocket bomb leaving this instant would be too late.
General, you have to do something. All those people...
Don't worry, Mr. Secretary. The Martian Queen won't hit the Earth. There won't be any crash. I sent up an XV-19 rocket under robot control several minutes ago. It was loaded with a thermonuclear warhead. I would have liked to have had your permission, but there simply was no time.
You've already blown it up?
That's right. I did it with Captain Deering's cooperation, of course. He knew it was the only way to prevent the destruction of 20 million people. So he guided the missile into his own ship. The Martian Queen was vaporized over a minute ago.
I presume you know what this means, General?
I know what it means. I'll have to be court-martialed because most people won't understand why I did it any more than you did. Even if I get out of it with a whole skin, I lose everything I've ever worked for. But that's a small matter compared with the satisfaction of knowing that I saved the lives of 20 million human beings. Maybe those people will understand why Captain Deering and I did what we did. And they're the ones who count.
Yes, as time goes by, things do change, but the fundamental things apply. And the most fundamental of all, really, is you can't walk out on a problem and just let it take care of itself. By the time it gets taken care of, it's ready to take care of you, but good.
Join us each Wednesday and Friday night for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Script was by Paul Anderson. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York.
This is Mutual, the world's largest network.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, who has today rushed to the suburbs of Metropolis in response to an urgent telephone call from Beanie Martin's brother, Joe. We'll join him in a moment. But right now, here's Dan McCullough to tell you all about the wonderful model of the walkie-talkie.
Say, gang, wouldn't it be fun if you two could have a working model of a walkie-talkie? Just like the one Beanie's brother Joe made for him and Jimmy Olsen? Why, you bet it would. And now you can do just that. Sure. Now you can get a nifty cardboard model walkie-talkie from the Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And believe me, it's one of the most amazing prizes you've ever seen. Now, I'll tell you more about how to get it a little bit later, but first, here's the dope on how it looks. This wonderful Kellogg walkie-talkie is almost a foot high. It's regular Army color, and it comes complete with receiver, transmitter, and 48 feet of cord. There's an indicator dial, a strap handle, and 2 aerial sticks as well. And, gang, there's almost no limit to the exciting and dramatic ways you can use this grand walkie-talkie. You can send and receive messages from nearly 50 feet away. You can transmit secret reports on enemy activities. You can issue and receive orders from several terminal points on the field of battle. Now, here's how you can get your Kellogg walkie-talkie, so listen closely. Send 2 box tops from that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep, along with a dime and your name and address, clearly printed, to Superman, Box 80, that's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan. Your Kellogg walkie-talkie will be rushed to you right away. And, gang, be sure to keep listening, because in just a few minutes I'm going to tell you more about this marvelous walkie-talkie that really works.
And now the adventures of Superman. Stringing their homemade walkie-talkie from Beanie Martin's house to the supposedly empty house next door, Beanie and Jimmy Olsen were seized by 2 men, bound hand and foot, and left in a dark room. Fortunately, it was the room from which Jimmy had been communicating with Beanie over the walkie-talkie, and the transmitter of the instrument was still there. Rolling over to it, Jimmy contacted Beanie's brother Joe, a disabled war veteran waiting at the other end. He told him to phone Clark Kent at the Daily Planet and tell him to come at once. As we continue now, Kent as Superman has arrived at the empty house, and having searched it thoroughly, is about to leave when he hears someone at the front door.
Uh-oh. Who's that?
Open up in there!
Better get back into Kent's clothes, or there'll be too many questions to answer.
Open up, or Corbett!
Hold your horses, brother. There we are. That's nothing. Hat. Specs. All set. Just a minute.
Hey, where are they?
Well, who?
You know who. The 2 kids. My brother and young Olsen.
Don't get excited, Joe. Take it easy.
If I don't find those kids, I'll... Hey, how'd you know my name?
You said you were Beanie's brother. That makes you Joe Martin, doesn't it?
Well, who are you?
Clark Kent.
What are you trying to hand me? I just talked to Kent on the phone. He was at the Daily Planet.
That's right.
You can't be Kent. It takes a good 20 minutes to get here from the Planet, and I was on the phone with Kent less than 5 minutes ago.
Well, I'll explain that some other time, Joe. Right now, there's work to do. Beanie and Jimmy are missing.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm still not sure this is on the level.
Come here. Let's move over here where there's some light from the street lamp, and I'll prove to you that it's all on the level. All right. Take a look at this police card, Joe.
Oh, I don't need it now. Now that I see your face, you're Kent. I've seen your picture in the Planet plenty of times. But how'd you get here so...
Now, skip that for the time being, Joe. Tell me what happened, will you?
All I know is I built a kind of a walkie-talkie for Beanie and...
Walkie-talkie?
Yeah. I made it out of cardboard and string.
Oh.
It worked okay. The kids were having a lot of fun with it, talking to each other.
Uh-huh.
Then I guess they decided to string it between the 2 houses. Jim came over here with his end, and Beanie stayed in our place next door. Next thing I knew, Beanie came rushing into my room yelling that something happened to Jim.
Yeah?
He couldn't raise him on the walkie-talkie, and he said he heard Jim choking.
You mean this was over the walkie-talkie?
Yeah.
I figured it was a gag, so I gave Beanie an old broken Jap pistol I picked up in Saipan and told him to go down there and pull a gag on Jim.
Yes?
Well, I waited in Beanie's room to see what had happened. It was pretty dark out and I couldn't see anything, but once I thought I heard voices. Well, I waited 10 minutes and then I started to get a little worried, so I figured maybe I'd better hobble over there and take a look. When suddenly Jim's voice came through in the walkie-talkie telling me that two guys had him and Beanie.
Why didn't you call the police?
Well, Jim said not to. He said to call you. Said there was a story in it.
Oh, that's Jim all over the story first. Go on, Joe, will you? What else?
Well, that's all. After I hung up on you, I decided to see what was doing myself, even with this bum leg. So I came over. What does it all add up to, Mr. Kent?
It doesn't add up to much at the moment, Joe.
Well, let's search the house, huh?
I've already done that.
When?
Before you got here.
But you didn't have time.
I had all the time I needed.
I don't get it. If you say so, I suppose it's all right. Did you find anything?
No, not very much. Something was evidently going on in the basement, though. I found a few empty paint cans, a button that might have come from Jimmy's suit, and this peculiar red nail.
Yeah?
Looks like an ordinary 10-penny nail, but why it should be painted red, I don't know. You have a penknife, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Here.
Thanks.
Careful, it's sharp.
Do you mind if I use it to scrape some paint off this nail?
No, go ahead.
Okay. May all be a waste of time. Hey, that's funny.
Brass underneath, isn't it?
Brass, nothing. Right at this moment, Joe, I'm willing to bet a week's salary this nail is solid gold.
Gold?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding?
No, it doesn't seem possible, but I'm afraid it is. Now it's all beginning to make sense. Those empty paint cans.
What about them?
They had red paint in them.
Yeah?
Joe, for some unknown and at the moment seemingly fantastic reason, someone was using the basement of this empty house to dip solid gold nails in red paint.
Why? What for?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, Joe, I wouldn't be standing here. But evidently Beanie and Jimmy stumbled on it accidentally. That really worries me.
What do you mean?
Well, the kids probably saw what was going on. Whatever it is, it's illegal since it involves gold. You know, of course, that gold is frozen in this country.
Well, yeah, sure, but
We've got to find out where those kids are, Joe. They know too much, and it may be dangerous for them.
Well, how are we going to find out?
I don't know. Let me think. They must have been... Well, they must have taken them away in a car. Did you hear a car pull out?
Yeah, I heard a car, but I didn't think it was pulling away from this house.
Well, then there should be some fresh tire tracks at the curb. It rained early this afternoon. Come on, let's take a look. Oh, gee, I forgot about your leg.
Oh, it's all right. I can get around.
Oh, good.
Come on.
Okay. Watch the steps.
I'm okay.
How'd you get the bad leg?
I walked into a hunk of Jap order shell.
Uh-oh.
I was lucky, though. I'm limping, yeah, but the guy who was standing next to me when the shell burst, he's dead.
I guess you were luckier than a lot of guys, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, here we are at the curb.
I can't see anything without a flash.
Wait a minute. I see tire tracks, fresh ones.
Where?
Right here.
Boy, you got eyes like a cat.
Not much tread left on the tires. Blowout patch on the left rear.
Well, the cops can trace a car from the tire tracks, can't they?
Uh-huh. Look, I'll tell you what you do, Joe.
What?
Get back into your house and report this to the police. Yeah. See if you can reach Inspector Henderson. He knows Jimmy Olsen personally.
Okay. What are you going to do?
Well, I'll look around again, see what I can pick up. Go ahead, will you?
Right. I'll see you later.
Okay. Now, to get out of these clothes. Jim and Beanie are in trouble, I'm sure of it. Blowout patch on the left rear tire, huh? Not much to go by, but maybe I can trail that car as Superman. There we are. Now, up, and away!
Leaping into the darkness, his keen eyes following the scarcely visible tire tracks, Superman attempts to trail what he is certain was the abduction car. But as he nears a boulevard, the flow of traffic increases and the task becomes more difficult. Fretting, the man of steel has to slow his pace. And meanwhile, a few miles north of the city, a small black sedan turns off the highway and climbs a steep gravel hill. A bull-necked man is at the wheel, and in the rear seat another man, thin and shifty-eyed, watches the dark trees and bushes lining the side road. At his feet lie Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin, unconscious, their arms and legs tightly bound.
He's still out, Steve?
Yeah, out cold. You must have stocked up plenty hard, Eddie. I hope they ain't finished.
Not yet, but soon.
I don't like bumping them off. I don't like it one bit.
What's the matter? You getting soft, Eddie?
I ain't getting soft, but I ain't looking for no murder rap either. These kids didn't do nothing.
No? You seen us in the house, didn't they?
So what?
So they seen us stuff, didn't they?
What do they know? A couple of crazy kids. I don't see why the boss says to get rid of them.
On account of the boss is smart and you ain't. Maybe those kids ain't dumb like they made out. Maybe they'd been in a house before when no one was around.
Not a chance.
But maybe they was. So the boss is just playing it safe. When you're getting set to rake in all the dough there is in the world, Steve, you're a chump if you take any chances.
Maybe you're right.
Sure, I'm right. Stop your worrying.
This it?
Yeah. End of the line. Come on. Yeah, pull him out of the car, Steve. We'll get it over with and scram.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Swiftly, the two men haul the unconscious Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin from the rear of the car. What are they going to do? We'll return in a moment to find out. But first, here's our friend with some exciting information.
Say, gang, I want to tell you right now about how to get one of those wonderful Kellogg walkie-talkies I was describing a few minutes ago. So listen closely. Send 2 box tops from that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep, along with 10 cents in cash and your name and complete address, clearly printed, to Superman, Box 80. That's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan. You'll be mailed your own Kellogg walkie-talkie right away. And, you'll be one of the luckiest guys in your crowd, or I miss my guess. You see, this Kellogg walkie-talkie is regular Army color, and it comes equipped with receiver-transmitter and 48 feet of communication lines, as well as a tuning-in dial and aerial sticks. And, gang, there are all kinds of exciting things you can do with this grand model walkie-talkie. You can send secret commands and receive reports on enemy activities from nearly 50 feet away. You can talk in code so that no one can understand you except your lieutenant. You can even whisper into your walkie-talkie and have your orders received. What's more, if you get your best friends to send in for their Kellogg walkie-talkies, you can fix up a 3- or 4-way hookup and have a mighty efficient communication system that really baffles the enemy. So, gang, get busy right now because this offer is good for only a few days. Send 2 Kellogg's Pep box tops and 10 cents in cash to Superman, Box 80, that's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan, and you'll be mailed your own Kellogg walkie-talkie. Hurry now, be the first in your gang to own one of these marvelous walkie-talkies that really works.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Stopping their car at the crest of a steep, deserted hill which overlooks the river, 2 men named Eddie and Steve dragged the unconscious Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin from the rear of the car, cut the ropes from their arms and legs, and sat them in the front seat. As we join them now, they are standing beside the car, admiring their handiwork.
They sure look natural behind that wheel, don't they? Just like they was going for a little joyride.
Hurry up, Eddie. Somebody might come up the hill.
Who's going to come up this hill? Men's in the river, don't it? And the yacht club that used to be down there is closed up.
The boy said...
They said he'd be driving past on a highway where this hill starts at exactly 8 o'clock. Just, 6 minutes date now.
It'll take us time to walk back to the highway, won't it?
It'll take exactly 4 minutes. The boss and I timed it last fall.
Okay. So what's a minute? Release the brakes and get it over with. I don't like waiting.
You know, you're getting too nervous for this business, Steve. You ought to buy yourself a candy store.
I don't like the smell of this. They wait for a newspaper. It ain't healthy to fool around with newspaper guys.
Yeah. They ain't working for no newspaper no more. When they're picked up in the river, the cops will figure they swiped this car for a little ride, see? And they didn't know this hill ended right in a drink.
Okay. Stop talking and get it over with. The steering wheel lunch.
Yeah. Okay, Steve. Give her a push.
Here she goes.
There he goes. Right for the river.
Gathering momentum, a black sedan carrying the unconscious Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin rushes down the steep hill toward the dark river. In a matter of seconds, it will plunge into the water. And Superman has not yet arrived. Has he lost the trail? Don't miss tomorrow's episode in this exciting new story. Tune in, same time, same station for The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publication. This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, and today as he hurtles through the skies searching for Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin, their very lives are in danger. We'll join him in a moment, but right now, here's Dan McCullough with an exciting walkie-talkie bulletin.
Say, gang, wouldn't you like to be able to send code messages and important reports over a model walkie-talkie? A model just like Joe Martin made for Beanie and Jimmy Olsen? Why, of course you would. And, gang, right now is your chance to own a model walkie-talkie. That's right. The Kellogg Company of Battle Creek has one for you if you send for it right away. Now, I'll tell you how to get it in just a minute, but first, I'd like to give you a little more information about this amazing instrument. It's almost a foot high, made of strong cardboard in regular Army color, and it comes equipped with a regular receiver transmitter and 48 feet of communication line. And, gang, there's almost no limit to the exciting and dramatic things you can do with your Kellogg walkie-talkie. You can communicate with your subordinates from another room without letting anybody else know what you're saying. You can observe enemy maneuvers and report on them to headquarters. You can even talk in code and fool everybody but your lieutenant at the receiver transmitter. Now, here's how you can get this amazing prize. Just send 2 box tops from that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep, along with 10 cents in cash and your name and complete address, clearly printed, to Superman, Box 80, that's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan. Your own Kellogg walkie-talkie will be rushed to you right away. Now, be sure to keep listening, gang, because I've got more exciting information about the Kellogg walkie-talkie that I'll give you in just a few minutes.
And now the adventures of Superman. When Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin strung a walkie-talkie from Beanie's house to the empty house next door, they were seized by 2 men and carried off in a car. Jimmy, however, managed to call an SOS over the walkie-talkie to Beanie's brother, Joe, who was at the other end of the instrument, and Joe summoned Clark Kent. Searching the empty house, Kent found what seemed to be a solid gold nail, which had been painted red, and at the curb in front of the house, the fresh tracks of a car. As Superman, he streaked away to follow the tracks. But meanwhile, miles away on the crest of a steep, deserted hill, Jimmy and Beanie's captors have set the 2 unconscious boys in the front seat of the car and sent it careening down the hill to the river below. As we continue now, Superman is rocketing above a dark highway.
No sign of that car yet, but it went this way. You can still see its tracks on the highway. Blowout patch on the left rear tire. Oh, wait a minute. Turned off the highway there, climbed that steep hill. Now, there go the tracks straight down the hill. Uh-oh, that hill ends at the embankment above the river. Great Scott! There's a car in the river, sinking to the bottom. And Jimmy and Beanie are in it. Down to them. Down!
Plummeting down like some giant bird, the man of steel dives headlong into the river. A few powerful strokes, and he is beside the car, slowly sinking to the bottom. In a split second, he is beneath it, the full weight of it resting on his broad shoulders. Then up through the murky darkness, until the steel top of the sedan breaks the surface of the water. Then one final effort, and the dripping car hurtles through the air. Land gently on the embankment.
There we are. Oh, now to get a look at them. Another moment or two, and this car would have been filled with water and those kids trapped like rats. I think they're all right, though. Jim, wake up. Jim.
Where am I?
You're safe now, Jim. Take a deep breath. That's the boy.
Beanie. Where's Beanie?
He's here right beside you.
Oh, is he all right?
He will be. Yeah, he's coming to now.
Don't do it.
Take it easy, Beanie. Take it easy. Everything's under control.
Superman. Beanie, it's Superman.
Where?
Right here. Look at him.
Leaps. It is Superman. Leaps.
What happened to those 2 guys, Superman?
Did you get them?
Oh, no, not yet. There's no sign of anyone around here.
Oh, where are we?
On the riverbank.
The riverbank? Well, how'd we get here?
That's what I was going to ask you. This car was sinking into the river when I spotted it.
Sinking into the river?
That's right.
No wonder I'm all wet.
You're lucky you're alive, Beanie.
You mean those guys put us in the car and then rode it into the river?
That's about the size of it, Jim.
But why? What did we do?
Well, we'll talk about that later. Right now, I want to get you both back to Beanie's house.
You mean you're going to fly us back to my house?
You're not afraid, are you?
Afraid? Me afraid to fly with Superman? Is he kidding, Jim?
All right, Beanie. Come on. One of you under each arm.
What about the car, Superman? Won't the police want to see it?
We'll send them back for it. All set, Beanie?
Oh, boy, sure. Let her rip.
Okay. Up, and away!
Are we up in the air yet?
Look down, Beanie.
My house. Please.
Not much of a ride, was it? Uh-oh.
Something wrong, Superman?
A police car just pulling away from your house, Beanie. It's Inspector Henderson.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll drop you boys on the corner. You get into your house as fast as you can, Beanie, and tell your brother Joe everything's all right. He must be worried sick.
Okay.
And you, Jim.
Yes?
You wait outside the empty house next door to Beanie. Clark Kent should be along any minute now. Are your clothes wet?
No, not much. Mine are soaked.
Well, change them as soon as you get in the house, Beanie. All right, hold on now. We're going down. Down!
Oh, boy. I thought you were going to go right through the sidewalk. You got good brakes, Superman.
Thanks, Beanie. Okay, now run along, both of you.
Oh, bye, Superman, and thanks a million.
Okay, Jim.
So long, Superman. And I hope...
You hope we meet again.
Yeah, I sure do. Oh, boy.
Come on, Beanie.
I'm coming. Oh, boy.
Now to get back into Kent clothes and start working on this thing. There must be something important that they were willing to drown those two kids to keep them quiet. I hadn't much to work on but that gold nail. There we are. Now to join Jimmy as Clark Kent. Oh, there he is, standing in front of the house. Hi, Jim.
Mr. Kent?
That's right.
Oh, boy. Am I glad to see you. You don't know what happened to me and Beanie.
To Beanie and me.
It happened to you, too?
Oh, no, Jim, your grammar was wrong. Beanie and me.
What a time to be talking about grammar. I was drowning in the river, and you're talking about grammar.
You've got a vivid imagination, Jim.
Imagination?
Uh-huh.
Imagination? Well, you ask Beanie.
What?
You ask Superman.
Well, now, wait.
Honest, Mr. Kent.
Wait a minute.
Beanie and me...
Whoa. Hold it a minute. You and I have work to do. You can tell me all about the river later. Right now, I want to know what you saw in the basement of this empty house.
In the basement?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything.
Now, think, Jim. Think hard. You saw some paint cans, didn't you?
Paint cans?
That's right.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's right.
What else?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Kent.
Did you see any nails?
What kind of nails?
Common, ordinary nails, the kind you hammer into wood.
Yeah, there was a pile of them on the table. Brass nails.
That's what I wanted to know.
Why, Mr. Kent?
Because they weren't brass. They were solid gold.
Gold?
That's right, Jim.
But...
Don't ask me why, Jim, because at the moment I don't know. But we're going to try to find out. Our first stop is at Mrs. Lacey's.
Well, who's she?
She lives in the house on the other side of this empty house. Joe Martin told me about her. She's a wheelchair invalid. Sweet old lady. Since she's home all day, she may have seen people going in and out of this place. No harm asking. Come on.
I can't figure out what those two tough guys were doing with gold nails.
Were they tough?
Tough? Well, they knocked me and Beanie and me cold, shoved us in a car, and dumped the car in the river. Is that tough enough?
I should think so. Here, watch the steps. Now, look, we mustn't frighten Mrs. Lacey with any weird stories of what's been going on next door. Let me do the talking, Jim.
Okay.
Ring the bell.
Oh, if she's in a wheelchair, how's she going to answer the door?
People in wheelchairs get around.
Come in, please. Oh, she said to come in. The door must be unlocked. Try it.
I'm in the living room.
Oh, thank you. Close the door, Jim. Come on. Oh, Mrs. Lacey?
Yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you very much. My name is Clark Kent, Mrs. Lacey. This is Jim Olson.
I'm very happy to meet you, Mr. Kent. And you, Mr. Olson.
How do you do?
We're both reporters for the Daily Planet.
Oh, how nice. I read the Daily Planet.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, I do recall your name now, Mr. Kent. Won't you sit down?
Well, we'll only be staying a minute. We stopped by, Mrs. Lacey, to ask you what you know about the vacant house next door.
You mean, is it for rent or sale?
Well...
Why, yes, it is.
No, we don't mean that, really.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought perhaps you were thinking of it. Houses are so difficult to get these days.
Yes, I know. What we wanted to know, Mrs. Lacey, was whether you had noticed anyone going in or out of the house.
The vacant house?
Yes.
Why, I don't believe so. Of course, my eyes aren't quite as good as they used to be. I'm a bit nearsighted. Old age, you know.
Oh, I think you do all right.
Well, I manage, if that's what you mean. But tell me, have there been people going in and out of the house?
Well, we're not sure, Mrs. Lacey, but we suspect someone has been making use of the basement.
Oh, I see. And you represent the owners of the house.
Oh, no, nothing like that. It's just that, well, I suppose you'd say we were investigating.
I wish I could help you, Mr. Kent, but I'm afraid I can't.
Well.
However, if you don't mind waiting, my son John should be home any minute now. If people have been making use of the basement, I believe he'd know about it. In fact, I'm sure he would. Strange he hasn't mentioned it to me.
Well, it's really nothing to be concerned about, Mrs. Lacey.
I know, but people have no right trespassing on other people's property. I do wish you'd wait for John. He'd enjoy meeting you.
Well,
But that's his picture over there on the table.
Oh.
Maybe lizards.
Jim.
Fine-looking boy, isn't he?
Yes. Mr. Kent, we got a hand scrape.
What was that, Mr. Olson?
Why, nothing.
I'm afraid we can't wait, Mrs. Lacey.
Oh, it'll just be a few minutes, Mr. Kent.
Hand scrape.
Well, we'll stop by tomorrow evening. We really must go.
All right, if you must. I'll tell John you were here.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kent. Good night, Mr. Olson.
Oh, good night. Gee whiz.
Tense and excited, Jimmy practically drags Clark Kent out of the Lacey house. What has he stumbled on? We'll know in a moment. But first, let's hear what our good friend has in store for us.
Well, gang, ready for the dope on the Kellogg walkie-talkie? Okay, here you are. First of all, here's how you get it. Send 2 box tops from that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep, along with 10 cents in cash and your name and complete address, clearly printed to Superman, Box 80, that's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan. You'll be sent your own Kellogg walkie-talkie right away. And believe me, gang, you'll be one of the luckiest guys in your crowd. Now, this exciting Kellogg walkie-talkie is regular Army color. It's almost a foot high, and it comes equipped with receiver, transmitter, and 48 feet of communication line. This means that you can talk with your pal from one room to another without letting anybody in on your conference. You can spy out enemy activities and report them to home base. And you can make all kinds of secret reports and commands without anyone's knowing. In fact, you could even talk in code. You see, there are samples of code messages printed right on the side of the Kellogg walkie-talkie. Now, here's how you get this exciting prize. Just send 2 box tops from that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep, to Superman, Box 80, that's Box 80, Battle Creek, Michigan. And you'll be riced your working model of a walkie-talkie right away.
Now, back to the adventures of Superman. Suddenly and without explanation, Jimmy Olsen dragged Clark Kent out of the Lacey house. Now, trembling with excitement, his eyes gleaming in the light of the street lamp, he is trying to make himself clear to Kent.
It's him, Mr. Kent.
What?
He's the one. Leaping lizard.
I know what you're talking about, Jim, but if it's important, keep your voice down.
And how it's important. Her son. Mrs. Lacey's son.
Lacey's son. What about him?
He's the boss of the 2 guys who nabbed Beanie and me.
What?
Yes. And he's the one told him to dump us in the river.
For a long moment, Clark Kent stares at Jimmy in puzzled amazement. Is the solution to the Golden Nail mystery as close as the Lacey house? The answer is yes. But before the mystery is solved, it's going to leave Kent and Superman a long chase. So be sure to listen tomorrow. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow The Adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As rolling rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. You are overdue on position check. Come in, please. Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. Check in. Taurus, acknowledge. Great Jupiter, something's wrong. Hello, Spaceport Control to all stations. Disaster alert. Rocket Cruiser Taurus overdue and unreported. Begin search operations immediately.
harsh, clanging signal of the distress alert is flashed out into space, all emergency elements of the solar guard go into immediate action. Radar scanners on Venus, Earth, and Mars sweep the void. Rocket scouts and rocket destroyers blast off at full space speed, searching for a trace of the missing ship. Back in Spaceport Control at Space Academy, all elements are fused into one giant coordinated effort.
Rocket Scout 7J4 from Spaceport Control. Cover Northwest Quadrant Mars orbit. Maintain communications with 9J3 and 8J6 on your flanks. That is all. Weather Station 9 Mars from Spaceport Control. Maintain double watch on all radar scanners. Contact Rocket Cruiser Orion and Rocket Scout 6J5 and event to site target. That is all.
Afternoon, Lieutenant Fremont. I understand you have orders for me from Commander Arkwright.
Yes, Captain Strong. Here they are. You're to alert your crew and prepare to blast off immediately.
What's that?
The Taurus, one of the ships that was bringing the children in from Titan Colony, is unreported.
Unreported?
Almost 2 hours overdue on its last position check. Commander Arkwright seems to think that the crew has been hit by the Titan disease. Now she's drifting off course somewhere.
Great galaxy, the children.
Exactly. They're absolutely helpless. And if we don't find the ship soon, they'll catch the disease.
If the ship isn't hit by a stray meteor first.
Well, we've alerted every ship we have. You'll be taking Dr. Lee with you. We're sending medicos on every search ship to inoculate the children with a new serum.
Right. Hey, wait a minute. According to these orders, I'm getting a replacement for Cadet Corbett.
I guess he's just recovering from the disease himself, isn't he?
Yes, but he's almost well. I want him along on this operation.
Well, you'll have to take that up with the commander, sir.
Well, don't worry, Fremont. I will, and right now. The Polaris unit is the best rocket team in the Academy, and it isn't going to be broken up if I can help it.
Well, if it isn't the hotshot CO of the Muff Brigade.
That's enough out of you, Astro. How's Tom?
Pretty good. He's sleeping, so you're just in time to take over.
Take over?
Sure, in case he needs anything.
Now, look, Astro, I've been scrubbing decks and polishing brass till I'm blue in the face. And if you think I'm going to play nursey to Corbett now, you're off your orbit.
Well, the doc said Tom should stay in bed and get plenty of rest.
Hey, how can I get any rest with you two yapping away like that?
Oh, hi, Tom. How do you feel?
Fine.
What's all the argument about?
From the way this Venusian hillbilly's been giving orders, you'd think he was the class representative or something.
As a matter of fact, Roger, he is temporarily.
What do you mean?
Well, the student council is meeting tonight, and since I won't be able to attend, I've appointed Astro to sit in my place.
You appointed Astro? What does that dumb Venusian know about student government?
Hey, fellas, it's Captain Strong.
Attention!
Stand easy, boys. Tom, how do you feel?
Okay, sir. Oh, why shouldn't he? Lying around the sack all day.
Oh? And how do you feel, Manning?
Huh? Why, all right, sir.
Then I don't think you've been working hard enough. Maybe you'd better scrub down the decks all over again.
Oh, no.
You and your big mouth.
And maybe you'd better help him, Astro.
Here, grab a mop, Junior.
Never mind that now. We'll postpone discipline until this operation is over.
What operation, sir?
The rocket cruiser Taurus, carrying 50 evacuated children from Titan, is missing. We've got to join in the search.
Hey, hand me my fatigues quick, Astro.
Wait a minute, Tom. Are you sure you feel strong enough?
Well, of course, sir.
Well, Commander Arkwright wanted me to replace you.
Oh, no.
Oh, Tom will be okay, sir, and we can spell him. Give him plenty of chance to rest.
How do you feel about it, Manning?
We gotta take Tom with us, sir. Talking to this Venusian hillbilly is no fun.
What?
I can do it, sir. Believe me, I can.
All right. I'll clear it with Commander Arkwright. But don't let me down. Remember, a rocket ship crew is only as strong as each man.
I can pull my load, Skipper. Don't worry.
Right. Then report to the Polaris with full space gear immediately. We blast off in exactly 30 minutes.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, Spaceman, I was talking to Astro the other morning down at the Space Academy mess hall. You know, Astro is in charge of the power deck on the Polaris, and that's mighty hard work. Well, anyway, when I caught up with him the other morning, he was having breakfast. Say, Astro, give me the lowdown. How do you keep up your steam working on that power deck?
Well, you see what I'm eating? Kellogg's Pep. Now, a lot of people don't realize the connection between work and food. What you eat and when you eat are important to how well you do your work. Now, that's why I tell everybody start each day with plenty of Kellogg's Pep. Pep gives you needed vitamins. Everybody needs vitamin D and vitamin B1 to keep in good shape. And Kellogg's Pep gives you a supply of both. Pep gives you lots of other food values, too. Food values that you put to work so you can do a good job. Now, that's why I eat Pep. Kellogg's Pep gives you more build-up food values than any other wheat flakes. And that's just what I need to handle the big burners down on the power deck. You spacemen take a tip from me. Sock away plenty of Kellogg's Pep. It helps you hustle, and besides, it tastes real good.
Well, you heard the man, spaceman. Tomorrow morning, eat Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Blasting off on a space-wide search for a missing rocket cruiser carrying evacuated children from Titan, the crew of the Polaris roars past the orbit of Mars, heading for the last known position of the lost ship. And in the crew's quarters, Tom undergoes a physical checkup by Dr. Lee, the medical officer accompanying them on the search.
Well, how about it, sir? Everything's okay, isn't it?
Yes, Cadet Corbett. You're getting along as well as can be expected. I suggest you get a little more rest, though. You overdone it a bit.
Well, I don't feel tired, sir. And I'm only standing 3-hour watches. Roger and Astro are covering for me.
You still need rest. Cut down your watches to 2 hours. All right, you may go. Check back with me again this evening.
This evening?
That's right, Corbett.
Oh, but Dr. Lee, I'm not that sick, honest.
I want to keep you from being that sick, Corbett. Frankly, I wouldn't have permitted you to make this trip. But now that you're here, I intend to see that you're not a drag on the crew.
Oh, very well, sir.
You may return to your station, but remember, maintain a 2-hour watch. No longer.
Well, Tom, what did Dr. Lee say? Oh, the same thing, sir. I'm all right, but take it easy. He says any excitement would start the fever up again.
Well, he should know. So you'd better follow his orders pretty closely.
Gosh, I haven't been any help on this trip at all, have I? Everybody's been put to double duty because I haven't been able to stand my own watch.
Don't worry about that. We'll get along.
Well, how are the fellows holding up, sir? They must be pretty tired.
I'm afraid Astro is beginning to crack under the strain. Listen.
Rocket fields of the Academy to the far-flung stars of outer space, where space cadets training to be.
I see what you mean, sir.
Yeah, I'd better go down below and relieve him for a while. Think you can handle the control deck alone? Everything's on automatic.
Oh, it'll be easy, sir.
Tom, are you sure you're all right? You look kind of pale.
Well, it's nothing, sir.
Well, I'll send Astro up here right away.
Oh, no, please, sir. He needs rest. I promise you, if I don't feel well, I'll call you.
All right, Tom. It's 0900 now. You'll be relieved in 3 hours.
Oh.
Yes, Tom?
Well, nothing, sir. See you in 3 hours.
Radar bridge control deck, check in. Radar bridge to control deck, check in.
Huh? Control deck guy. Go ahead, Roger.
What's the matter, Tom? Why'd you answer me?
Oh, I was doing something. Any news of the Taurus, Chef?
No, but I'm picking up something else on my scanner. A nice fat hunk of space junk.
Space junk. We on collision course?
No, but you better change our heading to make sure. I'd like to give these babies plenty of elbow room.
Okay, what's the course?
Hey, you sound funny. What's the matter with you?
Nothing. Come on, give me that change.
Okay, don't bite my head off. Set steering vanes 2 degrees starboard. Past the front of the meteor.
Okay.
2 degrees starboard. Got it?
Yeah, got it. End transmission. 2 degrees. Whew. Awfully hot in here. I wish I could shake the cobwebs out. Now, let's see. What did he say? Oh, yes. 2 degrees to port. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Lower deck guy. Go ahead.
Standby steering rocket, sir. We're changing course.
Why? What's the matter?
We're passing too close to a meteor, sir. Roger wants more clearance. It's all right, Skipper. I made the corrections. Just give me a short blast.
All right. Standing by.
Ready? Now. That did it, sir. We're all set.
Good work, Tom. I'll have Astro relieve you now.
Right, sir. Thank you. Control deck out. Why? I didn't realize how tired I was. I'll be glad to hit that sack. Control deck out.
Hey, Tom, are you space happy? You turned the ship the wrong way. We're on a collision orbit with that meteor.
What? Well, give me a new course, quick.
Too late. Hang on. Here she comes.
Roger, you're all right.
Yeah, no damage up here. We're lucky she only swiped us astern. How's everybody below?
Hold on. I'll check. Stand by. Control the power deck. Come in. Captain Strong, this is Corbett. Come in, please. Roger, there's no answer. Come on down. Hurry. They may be hurt. Captain Strong, where are you? Captain Strong.
Over here, Tom. Near the starboard rocket head. Turn on the emergency light.
Oh, what is it, sir? Are you hurt?
My leg, I can't move it.
Hey, Galaxy, Tom, what hit us?
A meteor. Are you okay?
Just a couple of bumps, and Dr. Lee's all right. He's trying to untangle himself from his bunk.
Okay. Give me a hand with Captain Strong. He's hurt.
Right.
No, Astro. Check the power deck controls first. Find out what the damage is. I can hold on another minute.
Yes, sir. Our main drive is cut out, but that might have been the emergency circuit breaker. I'll fire up the tubes again and see what happens. Rocket's firing okay. Uh-oh. Auxiliary power is gone, sir.
Then we'll have to operate the ship manually?
Yes, sir, and the airlocks, too.
Oh, great. This is all my fault. I didn't take the right heading.
Well, let's not worry about that now, Tom. Give me a hand. I think Dr. Lee better look at...
Captain Strong.
Tom, he's passed off.
We'll get Dr. Lee down here quick. Gosh, Astro, I feel like the lowest and most stupid earthworm that ever crawled. What a mess we're in now, and it's all my fault.
Stop fusing your tubes, Tom. It isn't that bad. Our rockets are still firing. We'll be able to get back to Marsport okay. And the radar bridge is working off the emergency battery.
Yeah, but look what's happened to Captain Strong. And we have to give up the search for the Taurus.
Well, it's just one of those things. Maybe you'd better get some rest now.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Hey, here's Dr. Lee.
Doctor, how's Captain Strong?
He's resting, Corbett. I gave him a sedative.
Is he badly hurt?
Well, he's not critically injured, if that's what you're thinking. It's his leg. It's broken. Pain and shock made him black out. He'll be all right once we get him to sick bay. You sent a course back to Earth, haven't you?
Mars, sir. It's closer. We can make repairs there.
Very well. And now, Corbett, I think you'd better lie down for a while.
Oh, no, sir. I'm okay.
Don't you think you've caused enough trouble?
Oh.
Dr. Lee, I don't mean to be disrespectful, sir, but that's not fair.
Sorry, I didn't mean it the way it sounded, but obviously Corbett's weakened condition led to his error.
Of course, sir. You're right.
Radar bridge control deck, check in, quick.
Oh, what's wrong now? Control deck high. Go ahead, Roger.
I just picked up a ship on my telescanner. It's the Taurus.
The Taurus? Are you sure, Roger?
Yeah, positive.
Oh, great. We find the ship we're looking for, and we can't do a blasted thing to help her. Yeah, that's the Taurus, all right, Roger. And she's dark, just drifting without power.
Looks pretty bad, Tom.
And you haven't been able to contact her at all?
Not a peep out of her.
Well, how about the other search ships? Can you reach them?
Not a chance. I don't have enough power, and I'm draining the emergency batteries fast.
Yeah, well, you better shut down everything then. We can watch the Taurus through the viewport.
Right. Well, what now? That ship over there is carrying 40 kids. They need the serum. How do we reach it?
I don't know, Roger. Without auxiliary power, we can't use our magnetic couplers. We can't even open our main airlock to take them aboard.
And they certainly don't have enough spacesuits to transfer through the emergency hatches. But if we go back to Marsport, the kids may not last until another rescue ship can get back here. I know. Hey, wait a minute. Huh? Wait for what? Never mind. I'll see you later. Where are you going? For a walk. I'll see you later. A walk? That character really is sick. Radar bridge, aye.
Roger, this is Astro.
Yeah, what do you want?
Where's Tom?
I don't know. Isn't he on the control deck?
No. At least if he is, he isn't answering the intercom.
Funny. Say, you don't suppose he blacked out again, do you?
We'd better double check.
Wait a minute. Here's Dr. Lee. Maybe he's seen Tom.
Manning, where's Corbett?
Huh? You too?
What?
Sorry, sir, but Astro just called me. He doesn't know where Tom is either.
I gave him strict orders to go to his quarters and rest. He isn't there.
Last I saw of him was about 10 minutes ago. He told me to cut my rocket power and drift next to the Taurus.
That's just about when I saw him. He told me he was going for a walk in Great Jumping Jupiter.
What's the matter, Manning?
Wait a minute. I've got a hunch that joker took a real walk for himself. Yeah, look out the viewport, Dr. Lee.
You don't mean that.
Look, there he is. In a spacesuit, using his oxygen bottles to blast over to the Taurus.
And that's my medical kit he's carrying.
Yeah, he's trying to get the serum to those kids.
Young idiot. In his condition, he'll never make it. He'll black out and go drifting off into space.
He'd better not, sir. If he does, we'll never be able to get him back.
Return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spaceman, being a cadet at Space Academy is a lot like going to any school. The cadets have to study and pass tests just like anybody else. Space cadets have physical training classes, too, just like you do. That's why you can learn a lot from them. Things to help you do a better job at school yourself. Now, breakfast is something a good space cadet makes sure he never misses. And you can just bet Kellogg's Pep is on that breakfast table every morning. Kellogg's Pep gives space cadets a supply of energy food to help them do their best in the morning. And Pep can do the same thing for you. You can work better, play better, and feel better if you put a bowl full of Kellogg's Pep under your belt every morning. Pep gives you essential vitamins, too. Vitamins you need to help you keep fit. Why, you get vitamin B1 and a whole day's supply of vitamin D in every single bowlful. That makes a difference, whatever you're doing. So, take a tip from the Space Cadets. Start your day the spaceman's way. Help yourself to the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Locating the missing rocket cruiser Taurus, the Space Cadets are seemingly unable to help the children trapped aboard because of the damage to their ship's power system. However, Tom, in a desperate effort to make up for his error, is blasting across the void separating the two ships in his spacesuit. While on the radar bridge of the Polaris, Roger calls him frantically.
Hey, Tom. Tom, come in. Answer me, will you?
Stop yelling, Roger. I hear you.
Then come on back here before you kill yourself.
Nothing doing. I'm almost aboard the Taurus now.
Tom, you're space happy.
When you chance your troops, I'm busy.
But suppose you pass out again.
I'll have to take that chance. I've got to get this serum to those kids.
We can do that, Tom, Astro and me.
Look, will you close your face? I haven't time to argue with you. Besides, you're wasting power.
Let me talk to him, Manning. Hello, Corbett. This is Dr. Lee.
Oh, yes, sir.
As your superior officer, I'm ordering you back to the Polaris. Hello, Corbett. You hear me? Acknowledge. Corbett, come in.
Great galaxy, I knew it. He passed out.
Did he? Can you see him?
No, he's behind the Taurus now.
Well, there's nothing we can do now to help him. We'll just have to wait and hope for the best.
rocket.
Yeah, what's eating you, Astro?
Haven't you heard from Tom yet?
I would have told you if I had.
Well, what are we hanging around here for? Why don't we go after him?
How? We can't open a jet boat lock, or we'd never catch up to him in just a space.
We're not helping him just sitting here.
I rather doubt that Cadet Corbett needs help, Astro.
Huh? What do you mean, Dr. Lee?
Look up the viewport here. There's a light aboard the Taurus.
Jumping Jupiter.
Rocket Cruiser Polaris from Rocket Cruiser Taurus. Come in.
Hey, that's Tom's voice.
Tom, is that you?
Not my ghost, Junior.
But I thought something happened to you. I mean, well, you didn't answer him.
I cut out. I didn't want to acknowledge Dr. Lee's order to come back. Listen, we didn't roll in good shape, aside from being cold and hungry. I inoculated every one of them with a serum.
You did? What about the crew?
Oh, pretty sick. They caught the type of disease all right, but they had the foresight to close off all the hatches. They quarantined themselves so the kids wouldn't get it. I've inoculated them, too.
Good work, Tom.
Now, I think we'd better get them to Marsport as fast as we can. If one of you characters will pop on a spacesuit and help me, we can get this ship underway.
Good idea, Tom. I'll keep Astro here on the Polaris with me. Dr. Lee can help you.
Okay. If you think the old pill pusher knows enough about rockets.
I'll answer that, man.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Corbett. This is Dr. Lee.
Doctor. Yes, sir.
For your information, this pill pusher is as good a rocket man as you are a doctor.
Yes, sir.
And in view of your actions and their end result, I suggest we ignore the entire affair. Just be thankful Captain Strong is still asleep.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I'll join you in 5 minutes, Corbett, and I'll show you how a pill pusher can push a rocket.
Right, sir.
And here you are, Manning. Take over. I'll see you back on Earth.
Oh, brother, you really got out of that one easy, Tom.
I'll say. He isn't a bad guy at all. Too bad he isn't 20 years younger. He'd make a swell space cadet.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris trails a stolen cargo through the void and are victims of a double cross in space. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Al Markham, Edward Bryce, and Louis Van Rooten. Today's program was written by Hal Rine, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Banks speaking.
You are alone in the dark forest, and behind you somewhere is the werewolf waiting to drink your blood. And you desperately desire the impossible, to escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the backward world of Eastern Europe, where ancient superstitions still live in the minds of men. Tonight we escape with Jeffrey Household's grim story, Taboo.
Among semi-civilized peoples, there has always been widespread belief in werewolves. Those fantastic creatures supposedly able to turn from man or woman into wolf and back again at will. This belief is still widespread among the simple folk of eastern Hungary, in the district around Zweibergen, high in the gloomy Carpathian Mountains. And I must admit, not without some reason. Before the late war, I often spent my vacations in that area, drawn to the dark loneliness by the pull of my Slavic blood. It was the same with her, perhaps, and our kindred ancestry no doubt drew us together. Her name was Kira Vaughan, and she was there with her husband, a pleasant young Englishman. They were obviously much in love, and I felt almost like an intruder when I found myself the only other vacationer in the village. However, they made me welcome and invited me to dinner. It was an excellent dinner.
Won't you have some more strawberries, Mr. Shirabi?
Huh? Thank you, no, Mrs. Vaughan. I've eaten far too much already. I cannot say when I've had so excellent a dinner.
Thank you.
I'm sure I shall get nothing like it at the inn.
I should hate to have to stay at the inn.
You see, Shiraviev, my wife is one of those delightful creatures who cannot stand to be shut in. She must run free, preferably in the woods, with her hair streaming in the wind. She's quite unusual.
Indeed she is, my dear Vaughan. And you may count yourself most fortunate.
Oh, I do. Where else should I find so good a cook?
Oh, very true. I've never tasted venison quite like that tonight. Delightful.
Thank you.
Another of her little victories. She delights in outdoing the ordinary housewife. She disdains the village shop and gets her meat right off the hoof.
Oh? You do your own hunting?
Oh, dear, no.
Not that. She's much too kind-hearted and loving a person for that. She's found a new source. The district game warden brings fresh venison to her door.
Oh, it's not he, but his son.
True. The game warden's slightly moronic son, who is, I'm sure, in love with her.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Oh, not so. It's quite understandable. I'm beginning to fall in love with her myself.
You see, my dear.
Thank you, sir.
Seriously, though, I can understand this wild desire to be free. This wish to, as you put it, run in the woods with the wind in your hair. It is some legacy of our Slavic blood, no doubt. Yours and mine and the game warden's moronic son. Somehow we feel at home in these dark forests.
Oh, you too.
Yes.
And I don't. I confess it, I don't. There's something here that frightens me. Something strange and inhuman and taboo.
Darling.
I'll confess something, Shiraviev. I don't like Kira to go out into these forests alone. Maybe I'm afraid that someday this emotional impulse of hers will get the better of her and she'll just disappear. Like those two men last week.
Oh? What was that? Have I missed some exciting happening?
No, not really. Though you'd think so to hear the villagers talk. A fellow coming home through the woods after dark just disappeared. Probably got fed up with life here in the village and lit out for Budapest.
And, what about the other one?
Oh, yes. Well, a search party went out the next day to look for the fellow. When they got back, they found one of their party was missing. Evidently, he'd taken the opportunity to skip out, too.
Is that what you really think?
Well, why not, my dear? If those men had been done away with, it might have been by something supernatural. And there's no such thing.
But might it not have been some wild animal?
Oh, the bears around here are harmless and the wolves are not in pack. At any rate, there would have been some sign, some blood, track, something. There was nothing. They simply disappeared, vanished, skipped out.
Richard, how can you be so careless?
You see the paradox? My wife, who loves the woods, believes the fantastic tales of the villagers. I, who confess to finding the woods strange and frightening, do not believe them.
Perhaps it is because you are frightened that you are afraid to believe them. What do the villagers say?
Well, you know this district well enough. They're talking of werewolves and such tommy rot. Oh, it's utterly fantastic.
Yes, to you, an Englishman, it would be.
And it isn't to you?
Fantastic, yes, I suppose, but perhaps Mrs. Vaughan and I, who feel at home in this forest, can understand and believe such fantasy a little more easily than you.
Yes, I remember many times as a child, I dreamt of being an animal. I thought then that I would love it. The freedom of the forest.
Exactly. That primitive instinct is so deep within us all. A heritage of some dim, distant past. In us Slavs, it lies closer to the surface. It takes very little to bring it to light.
Yes, it is true.
Well, you've placed my wife in a new life, Shiraviev. You'll have me suspecting her of changing into a wolf and running out to the forest to murder people.
Oh, please, Vaughan. You take me too literally. And besides, it is a shame to spoil so delightful a dinner with so gloomy a conversation.
Right. Shall we go into the living room? There's a cheerful fire in there. Oh, yes? What is it, Frida?
Beg your pardon, sir. But a message just came from the village.
Oh? What is it?
They want you and Mr. Shiraviev to come down there now. They're organizing another search party.
What?
Yes. There's another man missing.
Kira! Catch her, Shiravyev. She's fainted.
It was only then I realized that these people were under a terrible tension. I was to learn very quickly that the whole village shared it. Every able-bodied man in the district was at the inn when we arrived. The magistrate explained the situation.
The grocer. He went into the forest late this afternoon hoping to bag a blackcock for his supper. A little after dusk, a solitary shot was heard. That was 3 hours ago, and he's not returned.
But only 3 hours? Isn't there a chance that he might still return?
A chance, perhaps, but the other two did not. It will do no harm to search for him. We may still be in time to save his life.
We searched most of the night, and then next morning Vaughn and I went out again. We climbed to my favorite spot for hunting blackcock, and then followed the trail down to the village, the trail the missing grocer would have taken. I was beginning to be a little exasperated at Vaughn. He seemed to be so casual and uninterested, as if he were convinced that this one too had merely skipped out. But I underestimated him. He was a skilled tracker, and suddenly he did show some interest.
Wait a minute. Someone has turned aside from the path here.
Hmm?
He was in a hurry. I wonder why.
I think you are right. There are some broken branches.
Why? Why here?
It's hardly likely anyone would go plunging into that thicket unless he had a reason.
Wait. See that big white rock behind the thicket? When you're being followed, it's comforting to have a clear space around you. You'd feel safe up on top of that rock with a gun in your hands, if you got there in time.
You may be right. Let's go up.
Righto.
We forced our way through the underbrush to the rock. It was 30 feet high on the downslope side, and a hot spring at the foot of it bubbled out of the cavity scarcely 2 feet wide. We made our way up to the slope, around it, and came out on top. There was nothing there except for some ivy in the cracks, and one small, stunted tree.
Aha! Look at that.
Where?
The tree. The entire base has been shattered by a charge at close quarters. Perhaps that was the shot that was heard.
Well, you're right, it must be. They say there is always a tree between you and it.
What do you mean, it?
The werewolf.
Well, this must have been a baby one then. That mark is only 6 inches off the ground. No. I think the man's gun went off as he fell. Perhaps he was followed too close as he scrambled up. About here would be where his body would have fallen.
Do you see anything? I don't. No blood stain.
Yeah, well, wait. Look here.
Oh, but it's just a tiny spot.
Well, it's enough. It's blood, all right. And something more. A tiny bit of tissue.
Let me see. Yes. Brain tissue. Must have come from a deep wound in the skull, made by something like an arrow or a bird's beak. Or maybe even a sharp tooth.
But where's the body? There is absolutely no other sign. No evidence of its being dragged off anywhere.
No, I can't see any either. It's very strange. But at least we know one thing, Vaughn. This man did not just skip out. This man was dead or dying. When we brought our information back, the excitement of the village mounted. The peasants crossed themselves, and at the inn, the old tales were being told.
That's old Weiss, the game warden, talking now. And Josef Weiss, his son, beside him.
The moronic son?
Yes. The old man was a character, too. Listen.
The biggest one my grandfather had seen, and it followed him in the forest. Time after time, he met it at twilight outside his cabin, and time after time he fired at it point blank, but he couldn't hurt it. Then he founded a silver penguin and loaded his gun with it. One shot and the wolf disappeared. But next day, they found Heinrich the cobbler dying in his house with a beaten silver coin in his belly.
Oh, fools! You believe such stupid talk?
Joseph!
My grandfather used to tell the same story. Only when he told it, it happened to his grandfather. Anyone can see it didn't happen at all. Such things can't happen.
Joseph, you call your father a liar.
I do.
Well, far from being a moron, Joseph seems to have more sense than the others.
Perhaps. Joseph, you're not afraid of this werewolf, then, eh?
I? No.
Why not? The whole village is frightened.
I'm used to walking alone in the woods at night. You've got to be a part of the forest, then you'll not be afraid of it.
You do believe in werewolves, then, eh?
I don't say a man can turn into a wolf, no. But I can understand why he'd want to.
Your theory again, Sharabief.
Yes. I think I understand that too, Joseph. But what does it feel like?
It feels as if the woods had got under your skin, and you want to walk wild and crouch at the knees.
Yes. I think he's perfectly right.
And you explain it by some primitive urge?
Possibly. There may be many reasons. Physical hunger could be one. We sometimes forget that man was once a fleet-footed hunting animal with all the necessary instincts.
Hunger? Yes, we all know about that. About what it can do to a man.
I've been trapped in a cliff for 5 days. I know.
None of you have suffered hunger as we did in the prison camp during the war. None of you knows what it is to eat.
Joseph, let's not talk about it. He gets so upset remembering.
Well, we'll have to go on searching for the body and for the werewolf.
You'll not find it. Not until you arm yourselves with silver bullets.
Perhaps it is gone now, whatever it is. The search parties may have frightened it away.
It wasn't frightened by the first search party. It simply took one of them. Now it is still here. And it will strike again. You may be sure of that.
The whole village believed that Joseph Weiss was right. They traveled in the woods by twos now. No one went alone. For a week, village life was disrupted. The men beat the forest. The women tried to comfort each other. Kira wore herself out trying to be useful. The village women could not help loving her. But there was something else. Something strange. One day I spoke to Frida, the maid, about it.
Yes, she is a strange one, Mr. Sharibia. Even now I have seen her going out to walk alone in the woods at twilight. The women in the village think she is possessed.
What do you mean, possessed?
I hesitate to say, sir.
Come, tell me.
They are beginning to say sometimes the werewolf can be a woman.
At first, the suggestion seemed so ridiculous to me that I hesitated to speak of it. But then I decided to tell Vaughn before this rumor could reach Kira herself. He was naturally much upset.
That settles it, Sharabief. We've got to do something.
Something, yes, but what?
There's only one thing we can do. Track down this supposed werewolf.
But that's what we've been trying to do for a week. How can we
It's really very simple. We'll offer him bait.
Bait? Who will be this bait?
You and I, Sharabief. If you're game.
Why, yes, of course I'm game.
Good.
But how? Are you going to tie me to a tree and watch out with a gun?
That's about right. Only we needn't tie you up. And since it was my idea, you can have first turn with the gun. Are you a good shot?
Right.
This is no time for false modesty.
Yes, I'm a good shot.
Very well. It'll be night, and we'll have to shoot with only the moonlight.
Where do we go? To the rock?
Exactly. And the sooner the better. Tonight?
Tonight.
And say nothing, absolutely nothing, to anybody. Especially to Kira.
I understand. This is between us. Either we win, or we simply disappear. It was difficult getting away without telling Kira what we were going to do. She seemed to sense that something was wrong, and she sat staring after us with strange, angry eyes. In the village, Vaughn and I parted and made our ways to the rock separately. I reached there first and settled myself on top of the rock, almost covered by the ivy, the gun across my knees. Presently, Vaughn appeared on the path, and I gave the signal that I was there and ready. The trap was set. In the eerie stillness of the dark forest, we waited. Vaughn paced slowly on the path. I kept the gun sight trained a yard in back of him as he walked. Minutes passed in silence. Hours went by. Nothing happened. It was almost midnight, the end of our vigil. Vaughn waved his hand and started off down the trail. He would go fast in case he was followed, taking a shortcut down an old timber slide. He'd be in the village in 10 minutes. I was to follow presently. And then suddenly I got an intense feeling of dread. I was alone on the rock. My spine tingled, and then I heard a quick rustle in the ivy behind me. Something brushed my face. It was only a bird. A night bird had lit in the ivy and swooshed past me and flew away. My nerves were still tingling when I got back to the village. Next day, when I went to see Vaughn, he gave me a warning glance. Kira was suspicious. I could see the question in her eyes when she greeted me.
So, here is the other culprit. Which of you is most to blame for keeping such late hours?
Why, I suppose to keep peace in the family. I should say it is I.
No, you can't get him off that easily.
I'm the only culprit, my dear. You see, I've never hunted deer at night. I asked Shiraviev to help me.
I suppose you shoot the poor things while they sleep.
Oh, no, while they're having their dinner, if possible.
You're cruel and heartless, both of you.
Oh, it's no use letting her start an argument, Shiraviev. I'll go get us a drink.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'd like that. Why do you look at me like that?
Was the hunting good last night?
No, not very. We didn't get anything, as you see. I'm afraid you'll still have to depend upon Joseph for your venison.
Where did you hunt?
Why, simply in the forest. Nowhere in particular.
You're not telling me the truth, are you?
My dear, I don't know what you're thinking, but I assure you...
Oh, never mind. I suppose it is best I don't know. But take care of him, please.
Of course I will.
If anything should happen to him.
But what could happen?
You know. You understand these things.
That night I was the bait. And I confess, walking there on the moonlit path, the dense undergrowth pressing close on both sides, the forest all around me, that I felt a strange terror. But nothing happened. Once a bear ambled across the path, paused, sniffed, and disappeared into the brush. Then a little later I thought I saw a flicker of white in the clearing below, but it never reappeared, and I decided it must have been a ripple of grass in the moonlight. At midnight we returned to the village, and I was beginning to wonder if our trap would ever be sprung.
We must keep on, Shiraviev. I have a feeling that tomorrow night, perhaps, or the next night...
I'm game as long as you are, but so far we've only lost sleep.
I've got to keep on. Have you forgotten about Kira? The things they're saying about her?
No, of course not, but surely these people would not do anything to her.
It's not that. It's what it might do to her spirit if she were to hear those insane rumors. She's so sensitive. I don't like to think about it.
Then, shall we go out again tomorrow night?
Yes. You must come to dinner, though, first. Vice is bringing down more venison. Kira will want you to come.
All right. Till tomorrow night, then. After dinner, we went out for our third night on the rock. Vaughn was the bait tonight, and I the watcher. The forest was alive with sound. A deer coughed. The bear came ambling back as woolly and harmless as a dog. I was watching him when suddenly he paused and sniffed the air, then disappeared into the trees. The animal sounds quieted one by one, and a tense stillness fell over the forest. My hand tightened on the gun, and suddenly I saw it. That flicker of white moving fast through the trees. It was coming up the path toward Vaughn, a soft, bulky white blur, coming surprisingly fast. Vaughn's back was turned. He did not see it. My finger tightened on the trigger. It was only a few yards away when he turned.
Kira!
I started to press the trigger.
No, Sheriff, no!
Richard!
Kira, what are you doing here?
Oh, darling, I'm looking for you. I looked last night, too. Oh, Richard.
Kira, you shouldn't have. It was foolish, terribly foolish.
Richard, there was something after me. I know it. That's why I was running.
Kira, you shouldn't be out here alone.
Oh, what about you? Where's Shiraviev?
He's up there on the rock, covering me with his rifle. I'm perfectly safe. I'll show you. I'll hold out my handkerchief like this. Now, Shiraviev, put a hole in that.
I stared for a moment at the white square of handkerchief, then at the white of her coat. My lips were dry. My finger felt numb on the trigger.
Come on, Charabia. The handkerchief.
Please, God, don't let me miss.
There, you see, my dear? I'm perfectly safe.
They went down the path together, and I followed after a moment. 100 yards from the timber slide, I knew I was being followed. Even before I heard something in the brush behind me, I stopped and turned around. Moved past me, cutting off my retreat. Now I stood alone in terror, but it was still in the brush. If only I could make the timber slide. I got down safely. I went straight to Vaughn. He came out of the house to talk to me. I told him what had happened. His reaction surprised me.
Shiraviaf, I'm sorry I had to leave you up there to face it alone, but I had to bring her down.
Of course, I know that.
And you must believe this. She never left me. We came down together, arm in arm. We came straight down. You must believe that.
But of course, why should I think differently?
Then you must realize, whoever it was up there in the brush following you, it couldn't have been Kira.
Good heavens, Vaughn. Do you think I believe that preposterous story?
Well, didn't you? Even up there on the rock, when you hesitated about firing at the handkerchief, didn't you believe it might be Kira?
No. Why, no, of course not. But I did. Vaughn knew my thoughts almost better than I knew them myself. Yes, that was why my lips were dry and my finger numb when I pressed the trigger. I had refused to admit it even to myself. And now was I sure, even now. That night, Vaughn was excited.
We're going to get it tonight. After last night, it'll be there waiting for us.
Yes, I think you are right. But if you are, we wouldn't want anyone else to come walking in on us. It might cause confusion.
Don't worry. Kira has promised to stay at home. She says we're doing our duty and she won't interfere. Do you think this is our duty?
No.
Neither do I. I never feel that anything I enjoy can be my duty. And now, I really enjoy this. Tonight, I'd like to be the bait.
No, it's my turn. I won't give it up. Besides, if it's the revenge you want, you have the gun.
That's so. All right, then. Tonight, you'll be the bait.
That night, for the first time, I regretted ever getting into this mess. As I paced up and down the path, my nervousness grew. Tonight, it would surely come. I felt it. But would Vaughn shoot straight and quick enough? The hours went by. Clouds kept scudding over the moon, leaving me in deep darkness for minutes at a time. I was really beginning to be frightened. Then a fraction of a second before it happened, I knew it was coming. There was a hot breath on my neck, a crushing weight on my shoulder, something hard against my skull, and the crack of Vaughn's rifle. Vaughn!
Shiraviaf, are you all right?
Yes, I think so. What was it?
A man. I winged it. Come on. I'm going in after him.
All right, I'm coming. Vaughn, where did he go?
I can hardly believe it. But he went right into this hot spring under the rock.
But there's hardly opening enough for a rabbit.
He went under the water. Come on.
Wait, Vaughn, I'm coming with you. We plunged into the spring, wriggling our way forward, not knowing what to expect. Vaughn held the rifle high above the water, but there wasn't room enough for our heads. We had to hold our breath
and plunge forward. Luckily, it was only a few feet.
I emerged and took a breath. Then I heard Vaughn fire.
I've got him.
Where? Shine the flashlight.
There, at the other side of the cave.
Yes. Who would have thought there would be a cave here?
Not that anyone could have gotten through that spring.
It was a perfect hiding place.
Yes, but it does him no good now. Turn him over. Let's see who our werewolf is.
Yes. What? It's Weiss. Joseph Weiss, the game warden's son.
Oh, why didn't we think of that? We all knew he was not quite sane.
More than that, he almost told us. Remember, he said, I do not believe a man can turn himself into a wolf. But I know why he'd want to.
Yes, and he described the feeling. To walk wild and crouch at the knees.
He knew that feeling. He knew it too well. Beside Joseph Weiss, we found a murder weapon. It was a patented animal killer, a heavy iron muzzle that gripped the scalp, a heavy spike that was released by a spring. His hiding place was even more perfect than we had supposed. When the magistrate investigated, he found a passage from that cave which led underground for more than a mile, and finally to the game warden's house where a ladder led into his cellar.
Undoubtedly, Weiss found that dry underground river one day and realized he could use it. Perhaps that is what caused his mind to snap.
Yes. It released a long pent-up spring in him, like that weapon he used. He saw that he could run in the woods like an animal, disappearing and reappearing with perfect safety. It even offered a place to bury his victims without a trace.
And so your theory proved correct. That there's a murderous, primitive instinct lurking in some people.
Yes.
Well, it's all explained excepting what he did with the bodies.
It would serve no useful purpose to speculate on that now.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Kira, you haven't said anything.
Why did you have to shoot him?
Kira, he was a murderer. He tried to murder Shiravyev.
Is it murder when a wolf kills? A dumb animal? Frightened of intruders?
Kira!
You understand what I mean, don't you, Shiravyev? You understood that night when you shot the handkerchief. Just as I have. It might have happened to any of us, you see.
Kira, what do you mean?
Take me away from here, Richard. Just take me away quickly.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Taboo by Jeffrey Household, adapted for radio by John Dunkel with Paul Frees as Shiravyev, Marta Mitrovich as Kira, and Morgan Farley as Vaughn. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fure. Next week...
You were standing on a bridge over Owl Creek with a noose around your neck. You have only a few seconds left to live. A few seconds left to plan your escape.
Next week, we escape with Ambrose Bierce's famous story, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Good night, then, until the same time next week when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Instant Ralston and regular Ralston, the hot whole wheat cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in the control tower of Prince Baccarati's castle, ready to force the prince to permit a rescue squadron to reach Planet X. Suddenly, apparently from nowhere, Baccarati's assistant, Murdoch, produces a weapon.
Commander, Murdoch's got a gun.
Stop it, Murdoch. Murdoch, we've got blast cartridges in our hands. If you shoot us, you'll blow up the whole tower.
Better hold it, Murdoch. Murdoch, have you lost your mind?
One more step. We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Rescue from Planet X. Hi, Space Patrollers. There's lots of excitement here in the main post office at Space Patrol headquarters. We're swamped with entries in the Name the Planet contest. Here comes another batch of mail. Yes, it looks like just about everybody in the universe is trying to win the gigantic Rocket Clubhouse, a 10,000-pound, 35-foot-long clubhouse on wheels, with a real full-sized motor truck to pull it, and $1,500 cash. That's the first prize some lucky Space Patroller will win, and maybe it'll be you. Man, oh man, think of all the fun you and your friends can have. And think of living like a real Space Patroller in a clubhouse with built-in sleeping bunks, electric lights, equipment lockers, and even a cooking stove. But that's not all, gang. In just a few minutes, I'll tell you more about the 1,750 other terrific prizes in the Name the Planet contest. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Rescue from Planet X. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy now have Prince Baccarati and Dr. Malengro in one of Baccarati's own ships and are circling Baccarati's castle on the remote Planet X. While Dr. Malengro is in an aft compartment guarded by the giant Granu, native of the polar regions of Planet X, Buzz holds a ray gun on Baccarati in the control section of the atmosphere ship.
All right, Baccarati. Here's where you go to work. What's the frequency of the signal that gets us through the defense field around your castle?
I don't remember.
Hap, head directly for the castle.
Yes, sir. Corey, listen, you can't do that. If the perimeter guns don't get you, the force field will.
Then give me the frequency.
It's 508.5 megacycles. 508.5. Check.
I hope you're right, Baccarati.
I'm not a fool, Corey. I value my own safety.
All right, now listen. You're going to contact your master control tower and tell them you're bringing in 2 prisoners. You're going to get inside your castle without tipping your flunkies off that you're in trouble. Got that?
Yes.
All right, get on the spaceophone. And don't try to be clever, or it may be the last thing you try. Just say you and Malengro are bringing 2 prisoners up to the tower. Go ahead and talk.
Prince Baccarati and Falcon 29 calling Castle Control Tower. Prince Baccarati to Control Tower.
Murdoch in Control Tower. Come in, Your Highness.
Murdoch, I got 2 prisoners here. I'm bringing them up to the tower.
Do you want me to assign a guard, Your Highness?
Oh, no, that won't be necessary. That's all, Murdoch.
That's the idea, Baccarati. Through the force field, sir. Set the ship down near the east gate of the castle.
Yes, sir.
All right, Hap. Get Malengro. We'll leave Granu in the ship to keep him out of mischief. Put him in the galley. Let him help himself. After he stuffs his stomach, he'll go to sleep.
Yeah, that'll do it all right.
Now listen, Baccarati. I'm going to give you and Malengro each a blast gun to hold on Happy and me.
Yes, Commander.
You're wasting that grin. I'm taking out the blast cartridge. Oh. Happy and I'll each be holding one in our hands. If anything happens to make us relax our grip, well, I think you know what'll happen.
Of course, Commander.
You couldn't move fast enough to escape.
I understand. Go on, Malengro. Keep moving.
Before I give you this empty gun, Baccarati, I want you to help me to explain to Malengro the spot you're both in. I'm sure he'd hate to cause the death of his prince.
You needn't worry. I'll explain to you.
A few moments later, Buzz and Happy descend from the atmosphere ship, hands raised, and followed closely by Baccarati and Malengro. The 4 men walk across the castle spaceport to the east gate. At the electrically controlled drawbridge, the captain of the guard steps forward and salutes.
Get back! Get back! You're not needed, Captain.
Respectfully, the guard steps back. Empty guns in their backs, Buzz and Happy continue down the long hall to Baccarati's tower elevator. Silently, the door slides open, and 4 men step inside. The doors close. And swiftly, the elevator raises them hundreds of feet to the tower.
All right, Baccarati. We can quit this masquerade. Give me that gun.
Yes, Commander. But please, remember those blast cartridges in your hand.
See that you remember them. Open the door.
Go on, Malengro.
Congratulations, I saw you from the tower window.
Get your hands up.
Well, I thought... Do as he says, Murdoch. Do as he says.
Yes, your hand. Hap, here's a loaded blast gun. You get on the 3 of them.
Yes, sir.
Murdoch, don't try anything. We've got an extra cartridge in our hands. If we relax our grip, this whole tower will blow up.
He's not fooling, Murdoch. Obey him.
Yes, Your Highness. Baccarati, I want you to cut off all the defenses of Planet X. That means your robot-controlled ships out in space, your meteor control beams, and your surface warning systems. I'm going to order a fleet of Space Patrol ships to come in and pick up those men you abducted from the United Planets. They're staying with the forest people we just liberated from your Endurian mines. I'm staying right here in this tower until every last man is off of Planet X.
I'll cut the defenses. Your ships will get through, I promise. Now, those dust cartridges in your hand, they're dangerous to all of us.
I know it.
But you can't hold them indefinitely. Put on the safety catch. After all,
We're helpless now.
The quicker you cooperate, the sooner you'll be out of danger. Now, when my ships get here, I'm going to assign some men to see that all your weapons factories are put out of operation.
But you have no right to do that. Planet X isn't under the jurisdiction of the United Planets.
Yes, but we have a right to protect ourselves from aggression. You've been using your weapons and spaceships to destroy our installations, wreck our ships, and rob and abduct our peaceful citizens. You're a menace to every planet in the solar system.
But you're leaving us defenseless.
Who do you have to defend yourself against? Surely not the natives. They certainly have cause to hate you, but they're primitive people.
All of them. One group is very intelligent. They're the Lumens.
Come on! Wait a minute. Who are the Lumens? Come on, speak up.
They're a race that lived 1,000 miles from here in Golden Valley.
You're in danger from them? Have they tried to attack you?
Well, not yet. In fact, I don't fear the Lumens at all. No, not in the least.
Murdoch, why did you mention them?
No special reason. It's just that they're supposed to have special powers. Superstition. They're a little smarter than the savages around them, so these wild, impossible stories get started.
Well, I don't intend to interfere with any of the native tribes. When you and your ringleaders are put away, where you can't cause any trouble, the people of Planet X can go back to working out their own problems. All right, Baccarati. Get to that control panel and cut those defenses. Hurry.
All right, Commander. They're all off, Commander. Your ships can come in now in perfect safety.
Commander,
All right, Malingro, hold still.
Commander, the men will be getting suspicious. It's past the time when they receive their special orders.
That's right, Commander. If they think His Highness is in trouble, they may break in here and... they should attack you with those glass cartridges in your hand.
That's the point. Can you handle it, Murdoch?
Could. But if His Highness were to appear personally...
That's out.
Perhaps if I appeared as second in command to His Highness, half the staff would be reassured.
We're both anxious to get out of here, aren't we? All right, go ahead. But remember, I've got Baccarati here. If you want to keep him healthy, don't try anything.
Yes, sir. Of course, Commander.
Happy, watch Baccarati. I'm going to spaceophone Robbie to send a squadron to Planet X.
Out across the vastness of space, the voice of Commander Corey informs Security Chief Major Robertson that Space Patrol ships may now land on Planet X in complete safety. Meantime, Baccarati's two assistants, Dr. Malingro and Murdoch, draw relieved breaths at being outside the tower room. Dr. Malingro, if we don't think of something quick, we'll be on our way to a criminal rehabilitation center.
I'm quite aware of our predicament, Mr. Murdoch.
Perhaps if we were to return to the tower room with the paralyzer ray gun. That's it. Get Corey and the cadet before they have a chance to throw those glass cartridges. Forget it. The paralyzer ray would freeze their hands tightly shut. They couldn't release.
I said forget it. You would be endangering the life of His Highness.
But if we succeeded, we would be heroes.
See here, Murdoch. Since I've been away, you've taken a lot upon yourself. Remember, I'm Prince Baccarati's chief advisor, not you.
Of course, Dr. Blank.
I advise you to keep your mouth closed unless His Highness asks for your advice. That remark about the lumens, for example, that was stupid, Murdoch, very stupid.
I was only trying to help. We can convince Corey that those who remain on Planet X have need of weapons. Well, perhaps in the future we could secretly build up our forces again and rescue His Highness.
You idiot. If Corey learns that there is really an intelligent race here, it will pave the way to Planet X joining the United Planets. Then what chance will we have?
There's something in what you say, Dr. Malingro.
We must get word to His Majesty's subjects never to mention the lumens. And Murdoch, forget that melodramatic idea of using a paralyzer on Corey.
Oh, of course, Doctor. I've put it completely out of mind.
That's right, Robbie. I'll contact the squadron when they reach Planet X and direct them where to pick up our men. Corey out.
Boy, was Major Robertson ever tickled to hear that we were all right.
Yeah, it was good to hear his voice again, too. Well, with Robbie dispatching the squadron of ships from Pluto, we won't have to wait too long.
It'll still be several hours, though. That's a long time to have to sit and look at Baccarati.
Somebody's in the elevator.
I see Malingro and Murdoch.
Keep an eye on that door, Hap.
Yes, sir. Just Murdoch.
Where's Malingro?
He'll be here in a few moments, Commander.
as soon as I finish with this. Commander! Murdoch, you fool! I got them, Johann. I got them both.
You idiot! They have those blaster cartridges in their hands. Get out of here before they blow up the tower.
May I point out how rigidly they're lying there? Their hands are still clenched. They can't move.
Oh, yes, you're right. Good work, Murdoch. I'll have 2 guards remove the blast cartridges from their hands. Out of my presence, of course.
Of course, Johann.
Corey, you can still see and hear, can't you? Even though you can't move. In a few hours, your Space Patrol ships will be close to Planet X. You will have the pleasure of seeing them destroyed.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. The watch, ticking off the seconds, the minutes, the hours. The watch that helps Commander Corey stand guard over the United Planets. Yes, Space Patrollers, you can have a wristwatch just like Commander Corey. It's shock-resistant with a sweet second hand. And it's just one of the 1,000 third prizes in the amazing Name the Planet contest. Now, just listen. 250 Space Patrol wristwatches, 250 autosonic space rifles, 250 outer space helmets, and 250 swell Space Patrol emergency kits. But how about second prize? Well, would you believe it? Second prize group is 750 Schwinn varsity bicycles. Schwinn, the sharp-looking sports-style bike. Mighty light, mighty fast, with 3-speed gear shift, 2-wheel handbrakes, and all the other features that make Schwinn America's greatest bicycle. But better get started, gang. Start thinking up names for Planet X so you can win the huge Rocket Clubhouse or one of the 1,750 second and third prizes in the Name the Planet contest. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Rescue from Planet X. The ambitious Murdoch, desperately eager to place himself higher in the good graces of Prince Baccarati, succeeded in a daring stroke to free the Prince from Commander Corey and Cadet Happy. Suddenly producing a paralyzer ray gun in the tower room, Murdoch prevented Buzz and Happy from releasing the powerful explosive blast gun cartridges they held in their hands. Now, locked in a dark and musty chamber near the tower, Buzz and Happy are just recovering from the effects of the paralyzer ray.
Let's feel our way around this room, see if we can find a way out. I kind of doubt it. This time Baccarati hasn't taken any chances. He wants us to be on hand when he blows up our ship.
Maybe something on the floor we can use as a weapon when we open his door. We'll do better if we crawl.
But they'll have 6 men to keep us covered. I guess Murdoch sure has a lot of nerve. I'll say that for him.
Nerve and good aim.
Open your mind to me.
Happy, did you hear something?
Sounded like somebody talking.
Open your mind.
Voice, all right. I can't tell what direction it's coming from.
There's a strange sound, too. Is the dark playing tricks on my eyes, or is there a glow at one end of the room?
It's a golden mist.
Listen to me, men from another planet. Listen to me. I am Ortho.
Is that voice talking to us?
Yes, I am communicating with you. I am Ortho, a lumen.
Did you hear that, sir? It says he's a lumen. Baccarati playing a trick.
Maybe. Ortho, do you hear me?
No, but I sense your thoughts. You do not actually hear me. I project my thoughts into your mind.
It's Baccarati, all right. He's ordered one of these men to try to drive us nuts.
I am not Baccarati. That name is charged with evil. He is trying to destroy you.
You can say that. You can think that again.
Where are you, Ortho? And what are you?
I am 1,000 miles away in the golden valley of this planet you call X. As I told you, I am a lumen, an ancient race that for hundreds of centuries has lived here in peace.
Look at that misty light. It looks like a face. A human face.
I am trying to make myself real to you. I am projecting by thought an image of my features.
Either Baccarati's pulling something or... This is like a brain again. Only long distance.
Think of it like that, if you like. That we humans require no mechanical or electronic aid to project our thoughts to each other. In fact, we have few mechanical devices of any kind. No spaceship, no spaceophone.
Why are you contacting us?
For about 3 years, we humans have been aware of the growing force of evil on this planet. It seems to center in the region where you are now.
3 years. That's about how long Baccarati's been building up this empire.
Quite happy. Go on, Arthur.
We have tried to contact with our minds some individual mind in that area so we could learn the cause for this evil. Until now, we have met with failure. You see, evil minds cannot be attuned with ours. You, however, have a strong sense of justice and a dislike of cruelty, violence, and greed.
Wait, Arthur. There have been scores of people here who feel the same way. They've all been prisoners of Baccarati the way we are now.
Fear sometimes makes it hard to establish contact. Perhaps you are less afraid than the others.
We came here to capture Baccarati and to liberate the people he's holding captive. He's a menace to our entire solar system, as well as to you lumens. I hope you have some means of defense.
Not as yet. It may take generations to develop our minds in the direction necessary to combat spaceships and explosives.
You won't have the time. If Baccarati ever finds you, he'll try to enslave you. If he can't do that, he'll destroy you.
I have sensed this dreadful thing. I hope you can help us.
Great. We were hoping you could help us.
If we can help each other. Ortho, could you project the thought image so anybody can see it?
If I can picture the surroundings.
Does the image always glow like a bright mist?
Only in the dark. If your prison were lighted, you would see me as I am, a solid flesh and blood being.
Would you project an image of me so that someone else could see it?
If you concentrate on how you look, how you are dressed, and on the exact place you want your image to appear.
Suppose somebody touches the image.
It would be like touching empty air.
Ortho, let's try it. I'm going to concentrate on a certain corridor in this town. Right like
I tell you, Your Highness, I saw him. Commander Corey standing in the corridor in front of the room we locked him in.
It's impossible. He couldn't have escaped from that room. Unless one of the guards. Come on, let's look.
Be careful, Sire. He may be right around the corner. Have your blessed gun ready. There he is. I told you. He's standing right in front of the door, grinning at us.
Finish you this time, Corey. He's gone. Disappeared.
Back into the room just as you came.
He blew a hole in the door. He must at least be injured. Come on.
Look, Your Highness. The door is still bolted. On the outside.
Get out of the way. I'm going to see for myself.
There you are.
Both of you. This time I won't miss. Corey, I'm going to spare you the tragic sight of seeing your ships destroyed. They're almost to Planet X. After I finish you, I'm going back out to the tower room and blast your ship out of the sky. One by one. Got anything to say, Corey? No? Very well, then.
Bad shooting, Baccarati. That takes care of Malingro. All right, Baccarati, drop that gun. Get the gun.
Yes, sir. I shot you. I know I shot you.
You were standing on the opposite side of the room. Better have your eyes examined. When you come to... Come on, Hap. Get up at the tower room before those two characters revive. We've got to stop them from firing on our ships.
Quickly, Buzz and Happy rushed to the stairway leading to the tower room.
Get away from those controls, Murdoch.
Boy,
Cover him, Hap.
what have you done to his highness? Just this.
Hey, man, look at the view scope. Here they come. Our
Help
ships.
me.
Help me smash these controls. We can't let them be shot down now.
If I could just find something to hit with. Hey, this Infurium statue of Baccarati.
Just the thing. It's pretty heavy. We can both use it like a battering ram.
Yes, sir. Head first.
That does it.
I'm glad Baccarati's image was more solid than ours.
Somebody's coming up the stairs. Let's take a chance on the elevator.
I hope it's at this floor.
It is. Get in. Get down before anyone alerts the guards at the east gate.
Swiftly, the elevator drops to the first floor of the giant chapel. Then, with blast guns drawn, Buzz and Happy walk boldly toward the great open doors of the east wing. They're nearly at the drawbridge before the gate guard is aware that the two men who have sauntered out are space patrolmen.
Oh!
Head to the atmosphere ship, the one we came in.
Yes, sir. I think I better slow that guard down that's chasing us.
Did you stop him?
I blasted a hole in front of him. He fell in.
We can only make the ship before he alerts the whole field. Into the ship. Oh, if we can get this ship airborne.
The hatch is secured, sir.
That guard out there has a blast gun. We may be in for a rough time. Stand by to blast off.
Standing by, sir.
Put on the key frequency for the defense field, Happy.
Yes, sir. I hope they haven't changed the frequency on us.
I don't think they've had a chance.
Well, anyway, we probably smashed that control, too, up there in the tower. Looks like we missed that one. So glad we had the field penetrative frequency on.
Keep on the viewscope, Hap. We'll locate our squadron and guide them into the men of the forest.
Yes, sir.
Flying low over the vast terrain of Planet X, Buzz glides the rescue squadron to the realm of the friendly forest natives, where 200 engineers and technicians await the ships that will take them home. 2 hours later, Buzz and Happy look down on a heartwarming.
There they are, Happy. All lined up, ready to blast off.
Yes, sir.
It looks like every native in the forest is here to wave goodbye. Quite a sight, isn't it?
Sure is. What's that? The same sound we heard back in the castle. Come in, look in the viewscope. Look what's in it. It's Ortho's face.
You have done nobly, my friend. The fall of evil has already begun to lift from my beloved time. My people are very grateful.
Same for you, Ortho. And don't worry. We'll be back.
Yes, Ortho. As long as Baccarati is free on Planet X, we'll be back.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Space Patrollers, have you entered your name for Planet X in the big Name the Planet contest? Have you found a name for that strange new planet 5,000 times bigger than Earth? Are you on your way to winning the giant rocket clubhouse or one of the 1,750 other wonderful prizes? Better get going. Go with Mom or Dad to your Weatherbird shoe store and get your free prize. That's right. The Weatherbird Shoe Man will give you a free prize. It's a handsome interplanetary coin album with 3 real space coins inside. Terrific coins, big as a $50. And inside your free coin album, you'll find your Name the Planet contest entry blank with easy directions for submitting your name for Planet X. Now, if there's no Weatherbird shoe dealer in your neighborhood, you can find out where else to get your coin album and entry blank by looking on the back of a package of Good Hot Ralston, either instant or regular, the new package with the picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the front. But don't wait. See your Weatherbird shoe dealer or check the back of a Hot Ralston package and enter the Name the Planet contest today. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy have landed their spaceship in a desolate region of Planet X, as directed by the mysterious native Ortho, who is guiding them from a distance by thought waves.
Commander, there's Baccarati's ship. I can see it above us through the Astrodome.
Yes, he's coming in to attack.
Sure hope Ortho knows what he's doing, telling us to land here. Hey, what happened to Ortho? His face is gone from the viewscope.
Ortho, can you hear us? It's up to us now. Fire Space Torpedo 1.
It's jammed, sir.
Fire 2.
They're both jammed, and Baccarati's coming in.
He's firing at us.
And here we are like a sitting duck. Ortho double-crossed us.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Secret of the Dargo Ruins, when wheat checks, rice checks, Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Len Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Bela Kovach, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol!
This is Dick Tufeld in Los Angeles reporting on the world's first Delta-wing airplane, the Convair XF-92A. In a moment, we'll hear from the test pilot on this unusual plane, Major Chuck Yeager, the man who pioneered faster-than-sound flight. The XF-92A is an Air Force interceptor, nicknamed the Flying Triangle. Length 42 feet, sweep back of the wings 60 degrees, speed about 700 miles an hour. Now, Chuck Yeager reported early this morning at Edwards Air Force Base.
Let me tell you what it takes to be a test pilot. To start with, I have to be in good condition. That means get plenty of rest, plenty of exercise, and good food at every meal. For breakfast, I like a cereal that really tastes good and has plenty of energy.
Like Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So take a tip from Major Chuck Yeager, Tony LeVere, and other top test pilots. Get Rice Chex and Wheat Chex today. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local newspaper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.